Howdy, howdy, everybody, and welcome back to Valence League. We're into Season 11, Week 1 and Day 1. My name is Counterfeit, joined by JS today for 7 Deadly Sins and Roccet Academy to start us off. If you're looking for Wilder and the Wards or the Outlaw Bandits versus the Outlaw Bandits, you can find that on the other channel with Spitfire and Hooper. JS, it's a new season, it's a new day, but we've still got the familiar faces of the 7 Deadly Sins to contend with.
Yeah, it's been 3 seasons now they've been together. Failed to promote last split, so we'll be looking to see how they make any adjustments to their gameplay. But we are against a relatively new team, a team that's been brought together new this split. So that'll be interesting to see the synergy, how they go against each other.
Yeah, and for coming into this one, I think everyone expected the 7 Deadly Sins to have a pretty solid advantage, even, honestly, Roccet Academy themselves, because of all that synergy built up across multiple seasons. But there has been a last-minute change of roster, which has changed our expectations as well.
Absolutely. We have a support player coming in, supposedly filling the ADC role, so how that will play into their draft will be really interesting to see. We do see a big Swain player in the support role, so maybe they might flex that, and they may even look to use the new Moonstaff combination that we've been seeing a lot more in the pro play since that healing and that team fight potential is just so strong.
All right, so they are going to be seeing some skipped bans for 7 Deadly Sins. So this whole situation, on his sleep, their main AD carry, who's extremely strong, not being able to attend today, and also the substitute AD carry, Major John 2, not being able to attend as well. So that's both of the AD carries gone. This is why Flyer 634, as you can see.
And there's the Malphite ban. That's not surprising at all. We've seen him quite a big Malphite player in the past few games that he's been playing, and that it seems to be a big takeaway, especially that team fight potential that Malphite brings.
Yeah, Motor Joe has been playing mostly on tanky picks. Their carry performance has been a lot weaker. So if they don't have access to those tanks in the top lane, this could be good prey for Dr. Hufflepuff.
That is the Hecarim ban that comes through. Hecarim is a really strong champion right now. There's a Divine Sunder build that's floating around at the moment, but it's just good to take it off the table. Really strong early game, really strong team fight potential. There is a lot of team fight champions being banned out from the side, and so it'd be interesting to see what will be coming out in the draft pick of that team. So,
all right, so no bans opening up here for the 7 Deadly Sins. We'll see how well they adjust, as certainly the pressure's being put on them early on with these bans out of Roccet Academy. Definitely deeply disfavored coming to this matchup. I think now, with the absence of the AD carry here for
that is
Sins,
interesting.
Everything changes.
A Jhin ban comes through, and we don't have a Jhin player, so perhaps that is just a takeaway because of how strong Jhin is at the moment, arguably the best ADC carrier in the game. So, it'll be interesting to see what comes through. Shen comes through. How are we feeling about Shen?
Well, as you said, for the 7 Deadly Sins, Motor Joe, has really been much better on the tanks playing weak side than they have been on any kind of carry pick. They've tried carry multiple times, hasn't worked out for them, but Kai'Sa coming in, that's a strong pickup for Roccet Academy. We know that the bottom lane 2v2 is going to be tremendously more favorable for them now that they're playing with a main roster against a double substitute.
Absolutely. And Kai'Sa comes in as one of the best ADCs currently in Season 11, alongside Jhin. Those two ADCs, very strong hyper carries. If she gets that early game gold, if she manages to get some early kills as well, she'll become very difficult to stop. I like that Jarvan pick. Jarvan early, very strong early game. Could look to make plays down the bot side and get that Kai'Sa fed, and that will prove to be quite difficult. I'm not sure how this will turn out, but we are against, like you said, a favoured bot side for the Kai'Sa, so we're looking to see what is being picked up in the bot lane. That's what I'm excited for.
Well, Kraft is getting hold of the Graves themselves. Both of our teams here tonight having their shot calling presence being from their jungle, so we expect to see there's certainly some decisive early jungle moves as Fletcher will lock down the Malzahar, definitely known as a Malzahar player along with Annie, a utility player for the team, should be able to set up for the carries to come.
Absolutely. And I'm just waiting for our last ban. I do like that amount of lockdown that Shen and Malzahar bring, where they could get a big taunt. And we're talking about that hyper carry in Kai'Sa. Malzahar could be the solution to lock that Kai'Sa down. Graves will provide a lot of pressure potentially into the Jarvan matchup. Jarvan goes fairly low in his first clear, depending on what clear path he does, whereas Graves stays naturally healthy with that insane obnoxious clear that Graves has. So Nautilus being banned, I like that. We've got a Chime Bright is a Nautilus player, and I think that's a big takeaway from him. Takes away a big engage as well with this Shen as well, so I think that is a smart ban, and that's a Seraphine ban coming in as well. Seraphine, obnoxiously strong right now, could be played mid and support. I think that is a big takeaway from Yoon. And I'm just wondering how this bot lane goes now, Counterfeit, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very unusual situation for both teams to be in, as it's going to be purely support bans from Roccet. So no attempts to try and nail down Flyer's AD carry pool, because as far as we're aware, they don't have one.
That's true. We have absolutely no idea what's coming to the table now, so I'm hoping for something exciting. We have no idea. Any predictions? Any idea what might come through? Leona ban comes through.
I think you had the right idea of it, that, Chime Bright is a strong Swain player. It would seem to make the most sense to let Flyer go back to being the support that they are and let Chime step in as the Swain, which is why I'm particularly surprised to not see the Swain
Elise is being offered. Interesting. Okay. No, they was just trolling us. Mordecai has picked up. Jarvan will stay in the jungle. There has been an AP support build for Jarvan floating around. It's relatively recent, and it is typically paired with Kai'Sa or Kalista. So I thought it could have maybe had the AP Jarvan support coming through, but that is not the case. And we get a Mordekaiser. Now we're looking for this pick here.
Oh.
Well, we did call it. We did say that a Swain would be the right pickup. And I think I'll just wait here to see what is picked up here, because I want to see what the Swain is paired with.
I mean, yeah, we still don't know for certain. So, we've got the Graves in the jungle, so we've kind of got some of the 80 covered. But it could be okay. So it will be Caitlyn the Swain, so not the Swain carry, but the Swain support, presumably.
I think that is probably ideal, because Swain from the support position, not having to worry to farm, can throw out those pulls. Very, very hard to dodge those. If he throws out his W and he throws out the pull following it, then it's very hard to miss that. And Caitlyn probably arguably one of the easiest ADCs to play from someone who doesn't really play ADC. So, interesting. That is the Rel coming through. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to get up and aggressive, that certainly seems the way to go. I mean, for Roccet, you have to imagine their confidence is as strong as it could possibly be. This 2v2 down the bottom side.
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm looking for a lot of early game action in the bot lane. I think they should definitely try to prioritize and honestly abuse a new Caitlyn or a fairly new ADC role player. So they have a lot of playmaking potential with the Jarvan and the Rel. That is a lot of heavy engage that could come through. And the only downside is that what you might see is Caitlyn standing very far back, because of her, obviously, as one of the ADCs that has the highest attack range. So we could be seeing a lot of action in the bot lane. That is, I think, where our attention will go to. And Malzahar will be constantly having prio in the mid lane with his pushing power against Orianna. So I'm looking for early game action. I don't know if we're going to get early game action, but that's definitely where I'm going to be looking. Bot lane is the lane for me, Counterfeit.
Yeah, I mean, it should be fascinating. As I said, this is a completely unprecedented situation. A small note as well, and a heartwarming one for Rocket Academy, is that Dr. Hufflepuff, we haven't mentioned them on their Mordekaiser yet, into Motor Joe on the much more passive Shen. Uh, Hufflepuff recently has been put on tank duty, so they're actually being unleashed in this game to play a more aggressive style. We've been told by Callie, the captain of Rocket Academy, that Dr. Hufflepuff has been sounding proper sad recently because they haven't been able to unleash their Kled. That's the kind of player Dr. Hufflepuff is. They're a Kled main, but they've been playing tanks recently, so this is a big
I
surprise for them.
hate Kled. I think if personally, if you're a strong Kled player, you should put him on the Kled and allow him to sort of run over the map, because if Kled gets ahead, that could lead to just a straight snowball of their comp with the ganks down the mid side with the ultimate, or even looking for TP plays with an ultimate as well. So I'm not sure how I feel about putting someone on who's typically an aggressive player onto a tank, but we will see how this plays out for them. I'm not a fan of it, but I do think if someone's able to carry, they should be allowed to carry, flourish their wings, as you might call it. But I do see that the need for a tank. Otherwise, there'll be very little front line. But they do have a Jarvan engage, so they've got a ball delivery service there. I guess Mordekaiser could take out a prio target. Could be Caitlyn, could be Malzahar. There are many targets for him to pull out, so maybe that's the play they're going for. Keep the Kaiser alive. But I personally would have loved to see Kled.
Yes, I mean, it's a happy day whenever you can see him and Skarl scooting around the Rift. But I mean, I think this is a point which I really want to dive in a little bit, because it feels like it's so important for the game overall. We're talking. We've got Orianna, we've got Kaiser together. A potent, alternate delivery system and the ability to protect your carry. But if you're Rocket here, how are you going to navigate around having this Malzahar who can just pluck the Kaiser out of midair and delete her whenever she goes for the play?
Well, honestly, they could have Flash Taunt coming in from Shen. And they've got to watch out for the pulls. They've got to watch out for traps. They haven't got an easy task ahead of them, but they've got heavy engage and they've got potentially heavy disengage as well. So we are looking forward to what they will bring. I'm not sure how. There is a lot of engage essentially, and I think their best disengage is their engage.
Oh boy. Well, let us know in the chat, guys. 7 Deadly Sins, as we mentioned before we all started, with a huge history behind them, without their AD carry and with their support substitute playing Caitlyn in this game.
Here we go.
I think it's, I still think that this, the majority of the 7 Deadly Sins lineup is still there, even if they're missing, one of their best players.
Yeah,
they've still got that, that fundamental foundation of teamwork. And for Rocket, I mean, this is their best opportunity they're probably going to get all season to take a really big name down.
Absolutely, and like I said, I think they will want to play through bot lane. I think they'll want to get their Kai'Sa ahead. So we are looking, I think, towards bot lane action. I think that's where the play should be. We've got TP on both sides, in the mid lane and in the top lane. So we could see maybe a 4-man bot lane party. We never know. I'm looking forward to the Shen not coming through. That's a huge deterrent actually for early game aggression. So it depends on how Shen can get that early game play. Perhaps with a Swain pool. So there are many openings, I think, for the team of 7 Deadly Sins. But I think it's all about execution, and it could be perhaps their blessing and it may be a curse. There is engage plenty from both sides. So I think we'll be full of action, and I'm excited for this game, Counterfeit.
Yeah, it's always great to see an underdog story taking place here. Very much the case here for Rocket Academy. That they've got the opportunity, they've got to make the most of it. It does feel like they've got a pretty solid team, but we'll have to see. It feels like 7 Deadly Sins are taking a pretty big risk here, to have Flyer. So much of the team's damage going to be on this Caitlyn when they're the player which we know the least about as far as their ability in the AD carry role goes.
Absolutely, and I'm still a bit puzzled as to why they wouldn't put Swain in the ADC position and pass it, fly over into his natural role, especially since Swain was left up. I think that would have been a really good call for them. He would have been able to dish out lots of damage whilst also having a support main who's comfortable in his role. A lot of Thresh would come through. Thresh would be a brilliant pick. Lots of hook potential, lots of catch potential as well. So I have no idea what they were thinking, but we'll see how this pans out. Maybe we'll be entirely wrong.
Well, we are in a 3-game series, so we'll see if that does end up happening longer term. As I said, Flyer, they've got to try and make it work somehow, some way. You're right that for the Caitlyn, definitely one of the safer picks. It feels like it's going to be pretty tricky to have Roccet actually, make that punish directly by trying to make a play onto the double range bottom lane.
Absolutely. And we see just normal red starts from both sides. Quite surprised to see not much vision come out, no early wards. So there's not much information being spread. The red start is from Jarvan.
Right, so the junglers will not meet immediately. Powerthrough is actually making their way into the mid lane for an early play. Down the bottom side, we can see Roccet, they're not wasting any time. Flyer gets chunked down very quickly, almost gets the full proc of the Kai'Sa passive. So we get a little bit of us showing here that we are going to see a very, very aggressive 2v2 bottom lane.
That's exactly what we're expecting. We do want to see aggression in the bot lane. We do want to see those early game plays. That is the best way to abuse someone. Honestly, bot lane can be very punishing if you fall behind.
There's the first blood going through, though. I like that from Roccet. They've encouraged that kind of aggression for the 7 Deadly Sins bottom lane. They took some damage themselves, and ultimately, that's going to be the kill for Shenzhen, and maybe the start of something big for Rocket's bottom lane.
Exactly what we're looking to see. That's where they should be making the aggression. Jarvan has passed bot side, done an interesting clear. So he's gone down his red. Now on his Gromp. He may be looking bot side. There is a fight.
Did actually have pretty good ward coverage coming into this one, but I think there's no way out. They may not want to burn their flash here because
red bot's picking
coming in from the mid lane either. Nope, gonna hold on to it, hold on to their TP as well, and now we're back 1 kill apiece.
Malzahar picking up that kill. Gets that kill participation in. That lovely kill secure, we love it, don't we? Ooh. I think that is actually very bad for the Orianna. And you can see that Orianna started Corruption Potion. Probably because she knows that she's going to get poked out and will get pushed in a lot. But the kill going over to Malzahar won't do her any favours at all.
It's a bit unfortunate for Dr. Hufflepuff. Trying to look for an escape route, but instead just giving across the 2 assists as well as exactly the kill where it needed to be. Craft does make their first visit to the mid lane. So if we've
got much action.
If we've got the 1 kill for Shenzhen down the bottom side, maybe there's going to be more actually, because we've got Powerthrough coming in. Does force a trade of flashes in the bottom lane, so we're set up for even more action with only the exhaust left for the 7 Deadly Sins in the bottom lane to play with.
Shenzhen has flash available, so that is there. Exhaust will come through on the rail. But there we're seeing that early aggression that we wanted to see from the Jarvan coming in the bot lane. They want to keep abusing that. They've got a massive gold lead starting to build up. If you look and see that Kai'Sa's already on that 30 CS mark, she looks to be in a good position to carry this game.
I was going to say, Shenzhen actually staying in lane a long time before recalling, but they've been rewarded for it. They've got themselves the Noon Quiver coming back in to be able to get themselves a bit of extra attack damage and attack speed. Whereas very much not the case for Flyer. In fact, I think they may only have, let's see, in terms of actual gold available, just short of 1,500 total.
That doesn't give her much to work with at the moment, because she has 800 in the... Can't really buy anything for her, so maybe a longsword and boots.
Power Fruits up in the top lane once again. Managing to get the knock up. Motojo does have the flash available and holds onto it as well because Kraft is just south of this situation. And Dr. Hufflepuff too weak right now to follow up on the play.
Kraft is making his way topside, but there is just doing his usual clear. We'll go back, finish his Wolves. And as you can see that Malzahar is pushing into that lane. Also building up a CS advantage there. And does get a perfect reset as well. He looks to back there. We are going to see level 6 on the Shen soon. So I'm expecting a play to come through, perhaps on the bot lane or the mid lane.
You mentioned the CS. There's an advantage in top and mid, for the 7 deadly sins, despite the early play. In the bottom side, is the only advantage right now for Roccet, and it's not an enormous advantage. It's just that one item component completed.
Yeah, and you can see, even though the kills are 1 for 1, there is a 600 gold lead developing for the side of 7 deadly sins, and that's just purely from CS.
This is what we expected. The rest of the sins, with the exception of the bottom lane, they're still very much in place and playing to their regular style. So the sins coming into this one did let us know they thought their players on an individual basis were better than Roccet, and right now that seems to be holding true. They
definitely are proving that is the point at the moment, because all Caitlyn has to do at the moment is just stay safe, try not to die again, and just get her items, and then they'll be ready for the team fights. If the rest of the members are farmed up, if the rest of the members hit their power spikes early, she can just hit safely from behind. So I would say at the moment they're playing it quite well. They've kind of stifled the aggression at the moment. They're just sitting back, playing passively as they need to. But like I said, that Shen level 6 has hit. So any aggression... Oh!
What?
No.
That's insane. I was going to say that for the 7 deadly sins, I was impressed they actually managed to get onto the Drake, considering their 2v2 bottom lane is the weaker. But that was an incredible steal from Shenzhen.
Absolutely. What?
That did not happen.
No way that should have happened. Graves had smite. He's trolling.
100%.
Got smacked. Absolutely got smacked. Well, that is the dragon going over to the Roccet side, and they will be grateful for that. Takes away that early game dragon presence from that 4 stack coming up. Jarvan is ahead with the experience, so that Cataclysm could be coming down, could be coming top lane.
Yeah, we can see that Motojo has managed to keep their cool when under pressure from Hufflepuff. They're taking a lot of damage right now. Managed to get across the
drag.
Also flash away. Nice play there from Powerfruit, who's been extremely proactive in the early going.
I'm very surprised he didn't actually go for the Cataclysm, honestly. I think that could have been a kill there, but well played from Motojo. Survives with his life. Only flashes burned. That does mean his flash is down, so regamp could be on the cards. But bot lane.
We have got the TP coming in from the side. This can be a mistake here for the 7 deadly sins. They have got the Stand United bringing their numbers to bear a little bit quicker, as it's forcing a flash out of Cali. Fletcher on the side, goes in, drops down the ult straight away. But
it was cancelled.
Where's Powerfruit? They're still in the mid lane.
Full-man shockwave!
It's 4 of them. The ace in the hole can't quite finish.
She doesn't die.
Fletcher's still up, still fighting. We know that Shen's incredibly strong, but no, still no Powerfruit. And the 5-person play from 7 Deadly Sins doesn't pay off ultimately.
I don't know how we only have 1 kill apiece on either side. There has been so much fighting going on. That Orianna ult, absolutely huge, but unable to capitalize. Does save her life though, as she walks over the sliver of health. Caitlyn ult does come through, but she manages to survive, chugging up those potions from that corrupting flask. Oh my god, can't fit.
I like this from the 7 Deadly Sins though. This was just short of both TPs coming back up for the top laners. So for the Sins, they've got the ability to make the 5 versus 4 plays as long as both TPs are gone.
That is true. There is 2 TPs, like you said, coming up. They could. I'm anticipating more action in the bot lane. You'll hear me say this over and over again for this, but 2 TPs, especially if they time them together, can be so devastating and unexpected as well for the other team. So Orianna doesn't have TP, will most likely get shoved in as well, so the TP advantage is looking very, very big right here.
Alright, we'll be looking out for Cali to drop more of those incredibly on-the-point shockwaves, even if they are behind right now. The optimization right now between the mid lanes is not too different, even if the CS numbers are building up. In the top lane as well, Dr. Hufflepuff has burnt their TP getting back into lane. So Motor Joe, once that Stand United comes up, has a double global to 0 from Roccet.
Double TP advantage. This could be huge. If the side of 7 Deadly Sins...
Oh, never mind. Flyer gets caught up. Forced to flash away with barely any health at all. Chime gets chunked out, and this is, again, the biggest strength of the Roccet team is down in this bottom lane. They're not, giving any opportunity for the 7 Deadly Sins to get going. As he almost goes in. Nice little
pull.
What's back there? Chime!
Oh, she goes so...
one shot goes in! Where's the last shot?
The
tower! Aggro!
The exhaust!
Gives the kill across the Flyer. That's got to be a tough one to stomach as the 2v2 fight in the top lane between junglers and top lane. The teleport advantage coming in. The craft has been locked in place. The flash roll from Power Fruit gets the kill. And the ult is chewing out Power Fruit's health bar. But in from the side.
What's going on? This fight's everywhere.
Motor Joe is being chunked down, and that's going to be the first kill for the Orianna. Fletcher chased under the tower, and Dr. Hufflepuff gets out with a shield.
Wow. This game has just been totally turned on its head. So much just happening that we've got the top lane fighting the mid laner fighting. They've all swapped roles. Shen was very low taking that fight. Orianna picks up a kill. Now both TPs are down, and we're heading over to a very interesting game, Counterfeit.
Alright, so we've got another Drake fight. Of course, the Stand United is still there for the Sins, so they can still bring their numbers to bear. Dr. Hufflepuff is back in base right now with no TP, so we still got the 5v4 situation potentially brewing. We
did see 3 plates taken up on top lane though for Hufflepuff, so he's sitting about almost 1k gold above that Shen, so he is very strong right now, very, very scary.
Looks like the Sins are still willing to take
and United come through.
Yeah, there's the 5v4. Dr. Hufflepuff is walking it down
to the
fight. There's a taunt landing onto Cali, but they're still alive. The Drake goes down. This time the Sins are taking no chances.
I like this from the Sins. I like this. They're being very proactive. Didn't give Roccet any chance to breathe. Just straight in with the Stand United, and they just forced that dragon, forced them completely off it, and easily secure that. Good take.
Alright, so reset time. 1 Drake apiece. We're going to be going on to a Cloud Rift for the rest of the game as the plates are just about to drop. We can see across that, I think there's only been a minimal amount of plates.
Here we go again!
Oh my gosh! Fights all day long! Shenzen, of course, using that power as Power Fruit tries to get away. Nice block on the ult there. Mojo double knockup. Shenzin's damage is everything. Goes in with the killer instinct and locks down another kill, but I don't think they can escape because Cali is too far away to get the shield in. Double kill for Flyer, and they're actually now nearly matching Shenzhen in terms of raw kill numbers.
I don't think particularly that was worth it for the side of Roccet. Kai'Sa does pick up the kills, but she does lose valuable XP. You can see that there's a bounty on that Caitlyn, and she's racking up that gold. She's going to be just as scary as a Kai'Sa could be once she gets those items under her belt. Looking to get that Gale Force or that Kraken.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed by what we've seen from Flyer so far. They definitely know what they needed to do. Just be set up and knock down the pieces the Roccet are giving them. So 3 kills means that we've got a serious AD carry presence. Even if Motor Joe has been getting taken out a few times by Dr. Hufflepuff, finally unleashed from the more tanky picks. There's still hope for the 7 Deadly Sins. The gold is only 1,000 different as the Herald is being taken now by Roccet.
And TP is up for Orianna, so we could see a play potentially coming through with that. But we do see that she's continually getting pushed in, and that will be the problem in that matchup. Often loses out on lane priority. We just see the bot lane has I think in that 2v2 they should win. That rail, if that rail hits that stun onto the Caitlyn, but they have to be very careful of that Swain damage. Can go unnoticed and suddenly you're alive, then you're not.
Well, Shenzhen does have the Kraken Slayer, so we'll get that extra burst of true damage on those third attacks, so even a short trade could be disastrous. Though, all credit to Vlar again, they've only died a single time, which is less than Shenzhen has in this game, so they're still building up towards being a threat later on. And if they
for someone who hasn't really played bot lane or for much of what we've seen in as an ADC role, doing very well, I have to say.
Alright, so 16 minutes in, a small advantage for Roccet.
Mainly they will get spotted.
Side. They make another play again. But it's seeming hard for Unity to break through because of all that crowd control. There is the ult dropping down though.
Stand United.
Play around because of course it's
hits.
never an even fight. Shenzhen are going to be forced away as well, losing their flash, and I think Roccet forgetting for a second that any play is not an even play when there's Shen on the opposing team.
There we go. And it's exactly what I said in the beginning, isn't it? Bot lane. It's going to be all around bot lane. There's so much action that's been happening. Stan United has come through. A lot of the time we see that Stan United come down around the bot side area, so...
Wave is going to be pretty tough to deal with as Shine Bright is there to lock down the kill as well. Fletcher wants to take the kill credit, and the push towards the mid lane with 4 members of the Sins. They are not wasting a second either. And I think they might even be able to... Let's see, they've got 2 towers right now. Haven't quite got the gold lead back, but Flyer, yeah, performing way above expectations. The team itself coming together as a unit.
Absolutely. We've got 2k in the pocket of Malzahar, so that will be a very big back. Picks up the Leandries, so that's going to be very, very scary. And we've got Flyer on that Caitlyn, obviously new to the role. And despite the CS lead, is on 4 kills, so picked up the Gale Force. I am quite surprised actually that the Kai'Sa didn't pick up Gale Force. Is the standard to go to now, more for the movability, the flexibility that that item brings you. But goes for the Kraken Slayer. I'm guessing for the Shen, since the Shen gets quite tanky and that true health or that true damage will become quite important later on.
Roccet setting up for this Drake. You see they brought all 5 of their members here to make sure they don't lose out on the global advantage. Definitely be looking for this later on as the Drake is going to be under a lot of pressure here. There's no steal, but there is an attempt from Kraft. He's now locked in.
He is stuck.
It's going to be...
That is a dead Braves.
Gets another kill, so that's pretty great news for Roccet if you're here to support them. Let's see, I think they'll be able to get out as well as the Herald is dropped down into the bottom lane. A little late perhaps to be a diversion for the Sins.
That is a very... I'm wondering if that was on cooldown, if that was about to be popped or that was an accident, because that doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah, and that nothing is achieved from it.
I have to assume maybe originally Roccet had that on their mind, and that's what they were going to use to try and split the Sins' attention, but ultimately it proved to be unnecessary. So taking one step for Roccet towards the Cloud Soul later on. You have to know that Shenzhen's going to love having that Cloud Soul to enhance their ultimate.
Honestly, both sides could really, or would really enjoy having a Cloud Soul. Very, very big ultimates from either side. That Malzahar suppression, that Shen United, Stan United of course, and that engage from Rel could be very deadly too. That shockwave of course coming through, so Cloud Soul on either side could be huge.
I would not like to try and get away from Morel, who's of course difficult to get away from at the best of times, that Magnet Storm ultimate, when she's got that extra burst of movement speed to make sure that she stays right on top of you. We're still though, coming up on 20 minutes, as much as we thought this was the opportunity of Roccet, they're only ahead by 500 gold.
Yeah, you can see that the game is very even. Despite having that tower advantage on the side of 7 Deadly Sins, they are behind in gold. You can see that a lot of their gold is onto the Kai'Sa, that hyper carry that we're looking to carry this game from that bot lane. So we will see how Roccet play this game out. They are definitely, like Collector, So the 2-item power spike is on that Kai'Sa, so she is very, very scary right now.
Oh yeah, I mean we can see with the, you mentioned the Kraken Sled before, as opposed to the utility and safety of the Gale Force. This is Shenzhen looking to really put on their carry pants, as Kraft will get found out in the jungle. Of course, with the Cloud Soul, it's going to be pretty tricky to catch anyone. Kraft and the rest of the Sins looking to try and move their vision line into Roccet territory.
I am quite surprised, actually, by... There's no foresight warding at all coming through. So a lot of the vision will have to be in place because they have no vision around that top side. The top side looking very dark for both maps. We've got a fight in the top lane.
Death Realm activated, so Motojo is going to be losing out here. The 1v1, he can't win it against the Mordekaiser. Finally, Hufflepuff gets a chance to definitively win the top lane matchup.
Oh!
Flash in, and there we've got Kelly has been caught. The Quicksilver tax has not been paid. As
the rail engage, Kai'Sa.
Huge ult! With the ult and the double pullback! Dr. Hufflepuff sets up the play, the double kill onto Shenzhen. The flash is forward. You can see Roccet, they're out for blood here. Chime will get pulled back in again. Held down while the rest of the team wail on them. And Shenzhen up now to 8 kills. They are titanic.
Okay, just starting to pull away with this, I feel. Really, really knowing how to abuse their power spikes. Mordekaiser are looking very strong right now and doesn't want to be... I wouldn't want to be trapped alone in the Shadow Realm with him.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we get. Dr. Hufflepuff, they got their opportunity to step into at least the semi-carry position rather than pure tank. And they're showing that it was a wise decision, dominating top lane. And now, actually, when they join the fight, if Fly is the only one that's strong on the 7 deadly sins, they're not going to be able to get anywhere near Hufflepuff. They'll just be stuck right into the realm of death.
I think the Mordekaiser, absolutely. The Mordekaiser pickup was huge. Does very well into the Shen matchup. Does naturally win it. But he has been playing absolutely amazingly this game so far. And him and Kai'Sa will be a massive threat towards the side of 7 Deadly Sins. We'll be able to take out a hyper carry in that Caitlyn as well. So things are looking very good for the side of Roccet. Ahead of Dragons as well. We've got Dragons coming up soon. Stand United is available though.
Yeah, for Roccet, they've got Kali, who's the one who's got the TP available. That's why they're split pushing off right now, because they're the one who can come join the fight. Of course, Motojo could potentially taunt Kali out of a teleport if things go poorly. So it looks to be the Sins are willing to take this fight.
Sins do have vision priority at the moment, as you can see, and they have got that the danger of that Shen talk. He's pulled.
Oh my gosh, Chime takes a ton of damage. Where's the TP? Kali is not here for the fight versus 4.
Up too.
It's down incredibly low. Shenzhen, so wants to keep her eye on those just off screen right now. Power Fruit is taken to pieces, but Shenzhen has all the damage in the world.
TP's in. Shockwave hit.
Shockwave catches onto Fletcher. And there we go, the finish off the shutdown, the triple kill for Hufflepuff. They have stepped up. They join Shenzhen in the limelight. As this may be a step too far though, Kali gives up on most of their health bar, but not their life, as Shenzhen doesn't have the ult to follow up and get the final kill.
Wow, I mean, he is just one scary chunky boy now, isn't he, at the moment? Absolutely. With that Rift Maker and that Demonic Embrace, he is going to put out a ton of damage. And I'm not seeing much MR being picked up from the side of 7 Deadly Sins, so he's going to be doing so much damage alongside that side of the Kai'Sa.
I guess it's hard to itemize when you've now got, you know, Dr. Hufflepuff and Shenzhen as credible damage threats to your whole team that if they get, you know, where they need to be in a team fight, you're just done.
Yeah, and you can see that Shen only has, other than his Sunfire being picked up, only has MR with that Merc Treads and that Negatron Cloak. He's going to be taking a lot of damage from that Kai'Sa. But that Kai'Sa is really starting to see all that damage onto Chime. Chime was effectively taken out of the fight pretty much before the fight even began.
Yeah, although Swain, in which we had such high hopes for coming into the game, has been doing well at setting up plays, but not so good at getting away from plays being done onto them. TP is still down in its entirety for Roccet for the time being. 7 Deadly Sins, they're back to triple global ability advantage.
We are looking to see how they use that DP coming in. We've got massive gold lead building up for the side of Roccet. And they might look towards Baron here.
Hufflepuff does no TP, not at least for a little bit, so they won't be able to join the fight if it does break out here, but seems like the Sins, right now, they're not comfortable with the vision, and for good reason. Roccet have still got plenty of wards in the Baron area.
Got, if we look at what's being picked up, Mortar Reminder is picked up from Kai'Sa, will help stop that healing coming in from Swain's. I fear for that Swain's life now. That Swain will be going pop very quickly, I think, if that Kai'Sa manages to get the full empowered Q onto him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very tough times to be Chime Bright. Very little safety. Might have a Zhonya's later on, but for right now, they're potentially just target practice for Shenzhen, up now to 8 kills. Just ludicrously strong.
Absolutely. I don't think we want to see too much flash Malzahar ults coming in anymore. I think you might want to use them to use as peel, because they have a lot of CC as well to interrupt that channel as well. Oh, we've got a fight in the top lane. Bottom lane again.
We've got a death realm for Motor Joe. They're being taken from full health here and actually still being forced to flash. Here come the reinforcements from Kraft to stop the play from going through, but oh boy, Dr. Hufflepuff. Such an incredible
comes in his way.
Cataclysm will be escaped from by use of a flash, so Roccet, they're stripping away these summoner spells from the 7 Deadly Sins. Now they're trying for another play. There's the root locking unit in place. Does drop the ult, but it's slightly out of range.
That is a lot of important cooldowns being used. Kai'Sa's.
Shenzhen almost gets caught there, but now Chime has to try and get back out again. The exhaust is dropped. Nice use of the killer instinct to get across the wall, but Yune is going to have to give up their life. That's a bold play, but it works.
Oh my god.
Bounty cashed in to Fletcher at the cost of their own life.
What this fight. I did say, didn't I, there's going to be a lot of action in this fight and this game, and we're definitely being treated to a game with lots and lots of fighting. But it's not over. I think they're turning towards Baron.
For the Sins, though, this has cost them pretty badly. I mean, they've got no flashes left on their entire team right now as a result of those last series of plays. The Baron is in full vision.
Shockwave is down, though. There is no Shockwave. Death Realm is up. If he could pull out Flyer, Deadly Sins could be in a precarious situation. So we just clear out the vision towards that Baron.
We are on Soul Point right now, though, for Roccet as they are spawning back in again. They've got the opportunity to force a fight where all around the objective where none of these globals are going to matter.
And like you said, Soul Point would be absolutely huge. Orianna's ult is sitting at just under a minute for her ult cooldown. That will be pretty much ready every fight, so 7 Deadly Sins will be having to wary of that ball delivery system from that Jarvan.
So for the Sins, they're falling behind. We did receive word there's a possibility of seeing the main AD carry coming back to the squad for game in number 2. So this is the best opportunity for Roccet.
They just get it.
Yep, they're not even contesting it. Because
not even contesting. I think they're posturing towards Baron. Are we going to get a 5v5 fight?
This surely can't be good, though. All the ults are up. Everything's available again. Flash is only available on one member as Chimebreak gets caught again. Oh, there's the damage coming in, though. Yune leading the charge.
Look at Kai'Sa. Look at Kai'Sa.
Shenzhen gets hold of all the kills in the world. Shockwave catches 2 in a row. And that's the Orianna charging and deleting the rest of the squad. Kraft is the last one standing as Hufflepuff buys time for the rest of the team to turn back towards the Baron. Hufflepuff aggressive there, but I mean that's a huge win for Roccet.
Baron's secured, and honestly I think this is the nail in the coffin for the 7 Deadly Sins. That was nearly an ace from Roccet Academy, and they are really showing their power here, especially with that Mordekaiser. Oh, he is scary indeed.
I've got a couple of new item components sneaking in. The Quicksilver has been bought for Shenzhen. That big Quicksilver tax that the Malzahar pots on the opposing team has been paid, so Shenzhen no longer can be flash deleted by Fletcher.
Very, very big pickup there. That provides a lot of safety for Shenzhen for going in, diving aggressively. If he gets ulted, we'll QSS that straight away, hopefully. So, Roccet are in the driver's seat, but it's up to them to play it out and complete this game. So there is still the opportunity for 7 Deadly Sins to win this back. I think they need to get vision control, and honestly, it's looking like they'll need to secure an Elder Dragon if they want to win this game. Otherwise, I think it is game towards Roccet.
I mean, there's so much of the lead that Roccet have got right now tied up in Shenzhen, though. If Shenzhen drops, then presumably 7 Deadly Sins can win any team fight they want.
Perhaps. But I don't think they have any means possible at this point to get onto Shenzhen. Here we go.
Quiet though. Shenzhen still pulling out the damage. Mojo drops down. The Cataclysm locks the rest of the Sins.
So much damage.
Craft just runs away from the side of the team. But Infinite is not done with them. They'll get the shockwave to back them up as Craft runs away. The damage is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
12, 3, and 6. The Sins, they're now going to get pushed back into their own base.
And I mean, he has just got free reign to do whatever he wants to do at this point. So much damage coming out from that Kai'Sa. That Collector coming in huge, and has just, you can see the confidence he's playing with, using those ults aggressively. Never used to use it defensively, so he's looking like he's set to carry this game alongside Hufflepuff.
Yeah, Hufflepuff was going to be quietly working away with just those 5 kills for the time being, as the Baron up push is being pushed through both top and mid. So that's 5 towers to 3. It doesn't look like it's a game-ending push by any means, but still, Roccet,
no,
very, very strong.
But we see that 10k gold lead on towards the Roccet side, and they have got so many items with them right now. You've got Zhonya's picked up by Mordekaiser. You've got pretty much a QS. Oh, you got a QS picked up from John. Oh, that's interesting pickup that is actually. I guess he does want to get locked down as well, but he's tanky enough that he wouldn't die from a Mauser Heart. Oh, overall, lots of gold on the side of Roccet, and they are looking very strong. They would want to close this game out though, and definitely have the means to do so at this point on time.
Tell for Roccet that they've got that mind exactly where you said, on that Elder Dragon as a potential way back into the game for the 7 Deadly Sins. You have to wonder if Roccet are even willing to take a fight around an objective that could only potentially be a game changer for the Sins.
I honestly don't really see a way for the Sins to come back in this. Graves' damage won't be coming out too much now. You've got a very tanky Rel, a very tanky Jarvan, and you've got a Mordekaiser who doesn't seem to die, and will just take you along with him to have a date in the Shadow Realm. So there aren't many ways in, and I think this is just going to be a slow bleed out from the side of Roccet.
Does seem to be the case, and I like you're mentioning before the Quicksilver picked up for Power Fruit. We've got the Zhonyas there for Hufflepuff. It's seeming like the options available for the Sins to make a successful play are being taken away item by item by Roccet here as they slowly, methodically try to make the move in with no Baron buff. Doesn't seem like they'll be able to keep a wave alive long enough to get onto one of the inhibitors.
And I will point out, with the Cloud Soul being picked up, Orianna's ult cooldown is now 43 seconds.
Ooh.
That is pretty much up anytime they want to fight now. Oh, it's not looking good for the side of 7 Deadly Sins for this game 1 at all.
Shine Bright locks themselves in place, which may be a big mistake. Yun does go through, sets on the play, there's the ult, the double pull back in.
So much damage!
Comes in and says, oh, you were waiting for this Elder Dragon to spawn? Well, now you have wait in vain. The Sins forced back into their own base. They may even lose an inhibitor before the Drake even spawns.
They are starting to brute force this. Rel is very tanky. Does still remember that portion of her target's resistances. Shen? Taunt?
We got Shen going in with combo play, the shutdown onto Dr. Hufflepuff, but the rest of the squad...
Watch Shen's in, watch Shen's in!
Shen's in charging forward, Craft killed onto the tower for the double, and this just means the Sins gamble big. They hold on to the inhibitor tower. The Elder Dragon, though, is beckoning Roccet, saying, this will be the game ender for you.
I think that Elder Dragon will be definitely that final nail in the coffin. Definitely no way that Sins can fight them at all. Honestly, they could probably just take Baron and end the game.
Given what we saw from Shenzhen before, I was not willing to count out that as a potential Elder Dragon steal.
That was not happening. Never in a million years. But Ace in the Hole does get used. Very little damage, if you notice, coming onto that Jarvan from that Ace in the Hole. So their damage threats are not providing at the moment, and it's pretty much doomed, I think, from this point and onwards.
Alright. Yeah, we can see the Sins getting more and more desperate as their situation becomes more and more desperate itself. They've got no strong members right now. Certainly no one who can compare to Shenzhen on the Roccet side of things to compare with. The Elder Dragon buff that execute on top of Shenzen's already incredible damage now going to get added to the Baron buff to complete the double buff single soul final push.
And there's the Baron secured, and I think we'll just see them head straight towards the mid lane and look to check there. We've got an aggressive Shenzhen here, looking for any opportunity for that killer instinct to come through.
Craft getting locked into the realm of death. There's no way out, unless, of course, you're waiting to flash right at the end of it. They just about make it out, but Unique decides they're not quite done.
And he goes down.
The Baron buff has no minions to follow up with, though, as there's a cancel. Fletcher gets blown to pieces, does get the kill, but it's not worth it anymore. The minions are here. They may not be super, but they're Baron empowered, and they're everything Roccet needs to bust into the base.
And here we go, the end. I think they surely just run it straight into the mid. Oh, the killer instinct, there we go. I was talking about that. He wants to look for that aggressively. There's so much damage coming out from him.
And this has been Shenzhen game to shine. We have received confirmation that Honest will be coming back in the main rostered AD carry for the 7 deadly sins. But for now, Roccet, they take that one step towards getting an incredible win over an incredibly well-established team in the 7 deadly sins. We still have got another game at least to go, though. This is best of 3. So guys, stick around. We'll be taking a short break. When we return, Shenzhen will get a chance to measure themselves up against the main roster of the 7 deadly sins, and that could be a whole different story. Stick around. Game 2 coming up. Welcome back, everybody, to the very first week of the Season 11 here at Valence League. We are going to have ourselves a second game between the 7 Deadly Sins and Roccet. And as promised, we will be seeing the return of Honest Sleep, the main rostered AD carry for the 7 Deadly Sins, go up against Shenzhen, who was an absolute god in the previous game. My name is Canopy again, here with JS. And JS, I don't think we quite knew what we were getting into for the game one.
Honestly, we had no idea, because we had a support main coming in, filled the role of ADC. I have to say, filled it quite well, especially as someone who doesn't typically main the role. But I think that disparity was just too huge, and Roccet really capitalized on that.
Yeah, we saw from the very beginning of the game that Roccet were wasting no time. Power Fruit on the Jarvan did an incredible job of being all over the map pretty much the entirety of the early game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see now how both teams adapt. We know that Honest also is a Kai'Sa player, so I don't know if that's going to get banned or taken. So we're looking to see what is going to be played in the bot lane. I know that he also does play, of course, that Ezreal as well, so could be a very safe pick as well if they're looking to sort of stifle some of that early game aggression.
All right, so the switcher sides, the Sins now going to be on the red side, but right, we've got what is going to be a huge change here down in the bottom side. Shenzhen before was able to take these aggressive 2v2 fights. This time we've got all the bans back in place as well, so the strategy of the Sins could be very different this time round.
Right. That is Malphite once again banned again, Seraphine as well. Two very strong team fighting champions. And we can see that both teams love their fighting, so those will be big takeaways. Another Hecarim ban as well. Bans haven't changed. But if you're on the side of Roccet, I don't think you need to worry about bans at this point. Galio.
Okay, so that's kind of interesting. That's not what we necessarily expected to see, but if we do see that Orianna coming back in again, seems like a decent ball delivery system.
Yeah, and the submit, and I'm assuming that's targeted at Honest. just because Samira is such a strong champion, has the ability to 1v5, it feels like almost at times. So that should be an important ban. And Oriana to round out our bans. Oh, the Kai'Sa's being picked up once again for Shenzhen.
Yeah, this is what I think we were both expecting the Sins to ban out that Kai'Sa because, yeah, the first pick is there. So it's going to be put into the hands of Shenzhen. Honestly, doesn't have the Samira to fall back on as well. We'll have to find a different way through. As we've got the first picks to see what the 7 Deadly Sins have got in mind. Kraft last time round was pretty active on the Graves but fell off as the game went on. Now maybe with the Talia and the Aphelios being brought in, the heavy hitters from 7 Deadly Sins.
I'm personally not a fan of Aphelios at the moment in this season. So it'll be interesting to see how this stacks up. I think if he has enough peel, can be a very scary ADC. But it depends on what he's being paired with. Oh, the Jarvan comes through again. And I think we're going to be seeing early game aggression probably in the beginning and the Shen. So we're looking for that. Definitely early game aggression that we saw last game.
I mean, as much as Dr. Hufflepuff got their chance to spread their carry wings with the Mordekaiser, I don't think either of us could deny how powerful that Shen was for the Sins in the previous game. Now the global advantage going across to Roccet, and Annie comes in. Not sure if that's a placeholder, it certainly is traditionally one, though I believe we've actually seen Annie occasionally actually being played by Fletcher.
Fletcher is a typical Annie player, has lots of games on it, has a very disgusting win rate on it as well in that solo queue, so could be very, very scary depending on what mid laner is chosen, especially because she absolutely bullies immobile mid laners. So if we see another AP mage coming out, could find themselves being ganked very often and just being dead. Fresh.
I like this from the Sins as the next bands come in towards the mid and support roles to bring out a surprise mid lane and then start, get opportunity to go straight after the worst matchups for the Annie immediately. I feel like this is a pretty smart play from the Sins.
I like these. I like the Syndra ban as well. Could prove a problem for Annie. And the Morgana taken away, so there is no spell shield. And that is a lot of CC coming through. The Talia knockout could come through into the... I see a very scary potential in their team fight coming here. I think a Leona ban is good. Takes away a very big team fight potential. But they could come up with other things like the Nautilus or perhaps the Rel again. We could see on a different side to take away from Yoon.
It worked incredibly well, did the Rel last time round. Incredible setup, especially when we've got other crowd control, and that seems to be what we've got right now for the Sins. Confirmation that Fletcher, not a placeholder, it is the real deal.
And there is the Nautilus, as I said, they want that really big team fight combination, and it is looking very scary. And we've got Janna being covered. Would prove very good disengage.
Yeah, now we get to see a little bit from Roccet Academy how they're planning on dealing with this whole situation. Will they try and keep the Sins at bay, or will they meet them blade to blade? So far in game one, it seemed to be the more aggressive option. Oh, the lock of the Janna seems to sense.
And Janna is
double shields in here for Shenzhen.
Syndra has been targeted ban, and I'm wondering what the Ziggs. Okay. I'm not too sure.
Okay, no, it will be.
Okay, so yeah.
Wow.
So we've got jungler here. No, we've got the top lane. So what is Motojo going to go for into that Shen? He just played it last game. Maybe he picks up the Mordekaiser.
Oh boy, I mean that's certainly. To be fair, I mean you've been shown from Dr. Hufflepuff the Mordekaiser can absolutely push the Shen around, though ultimately didn't beat him badly enough to keep those Stand United from being a major, but it will be a carry. Motojo. They've been tending to be doing a lot better on their tank picks than on the carry. I believe from our research on the Motojo, carry style has not been their friend, so this feels like a pretty big risk for them.
Indeed, and could be a very scary matchup. Well, Renekton is definitely known as a lane bully, but I think Shen definitely will win the matchup if it plays out as it should on paper. And if Shen manages to block that W, that stun coming in from Renekton that could be the tide that turns the battle. So very interesting picks coming out here. We've got a lot of pick potential on the side of Roccet. Huge teamfight potential though. So I think we're looking for, again, that bot side action. They want to be fighting, and I don't know if we're going to be looking at... Or it depends who has TP, and I'm wondering, I want to see if Fletcher takes that TP, because then we might be seeing all that TP coming into the bot lane once again.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that the Sins, after running such a globally heavy composition from before, are going to be willing to give up on that entirely. But there's no Shen this time round, so Motor Joe will have to step into Hufflepuff's shoes, win out that top lane, and keep that Shen from turning every fight on its head, as we saw in Game 1.
Absolutely. I do really like their potential engage with that Jarvan flag and drag into the Shen Stan United, but Roccet have... I mean, 7 Deadly Sins do have a lot of CC as well. So even if Felios can provide onto CC with his that stun gun. So pretty much everyone on that side has CC. This will be a very, very spicy game indeed.
Definitely echoes of the previous game, Malzahar. Wouldn't be at all surprised to see Shenzhen and maybe Power Fruit again go for their Quicksilver to make sure they do not get caught. But to the game overall, so we saw a lot of good stuff coming out of Roccet in game number 1. They've got the first game locked down. They've now got to face against Honest, the main AD carry. Based on what we saw from game 1, what kind of odds are you giving this is going to turn into a 2-0 series for Roccet?
Honestly, if they play it out as they did last game, I think we're looking at a 2-0. Because they had their clear game plan. They wanted to focus on their bot lane. They definitely got their bot on their head. They had a lot of plays down the bot side. That early game aggression coming in from the Jarvan was really good. Cataclysm locking up lots of people and Kai'Sa picking up the kills. That's the most important part. The money was going onto the Kai'Sa, and the Kai'Sa was able to see the game out. So I think, provided they show a lot of love to their Kai'Sa this game, I believe that she might be able to carry this game out. But we are seeing Yune on a Janna, which is not as tanky as a Rel. It doesn't have as good engage. So that bot lane will be a lot more passive than it potentially was last game. She does have a lot of poke potential, but Aphelios does have a lot of sustain in that lane as well. So I'm not too happy with this Janna pick, if I'm honest. And I think they should have gone for that Rel pick again. I think the Rel pick would have been great. But I'm on them to show us what they can prove with this Janna pick. I think the Janna pick is questionable for me. What about you?
It does seem like you're right. If we did see the Rel coming in, it would feel like Shenzhen was kind of slapping Honest in the face and saying, "I'm a better AD carry than you. I can take you on one." But the Janna instead, it does. You're right. It feels like a much more of an acknowledgement that Shenzhen, rather than trying to abuse a weaker opponent, is acknowledging that Honest Sleep is at least as good as they are in a straight fight, and they're not willing to gamble the game on just 2v2s with no other interference.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm seeing actually from this side of Roccet is a very squishy carries. We've got Ziggs, we've got Kai'Sa, and a very squishy Janna. If Annie manages to reach her items and hits her stun, they're dead. There is no coming back from that. They will be absolutely blown up into bits. So Annie, very dirty, has a lot of burst potential, followed up by Nautilus. I am favouring the side of Sins' comp, but I think the ability that was shown from Shenzhen last game has the very potential to carry a game. And we're into game.
They've certainly got weight on their shoulders. Again, double shielding for Shenzhen. A lot of eggs in that basket, but they've proven themselves in the previous game. We're just getting paused off at the start to make sure everything is lined up for game number 2 of this best of 3 series. Roccet Academy with one game locked down, with the advantage, of course, of a heavy substitute in the AD carry position for the Sins. And now Sins have to win back-to-back games or lose out in the very first week of the season. I don't think anybody would have believed that could happen.
Yeah.
All right, I think everyone's ready. All right, on to the Rift itself. Game number 2 of the best of 3, opening up our season here at Valence League. It's going to be an absolute blinder. The Sins push back into a corner here on his sleep, returning to main roster for this game.
We've got a 5-man pulling down into... They're looking for a cheeky invade, it looks like. That area has been warded up, so they're going to get spotted. And nothing should come out of that invade.
Yeah, the Sins, they are not messing around here. They're going for the early play. You know, we can see immediately from Roccet, they're returning the favor, going to the top jungle and getting down some vision of their own. Maybe even looking to trade buffs.
Are they? Yeah, they're still as a 5-man. Motor Joe has to get his way up to top lane now, otherwise he's going to be late to lane.
Wow, yeah, that was a big commit through there. And you can see the vision from Roccet, the ward spotting out. But looks like 7 Deadly Sins.
Completely all on vision. This is all on vision. So they're going to spot out the red buff being taken. I wonder if Power just goes straight to his red buff, starts that vertical jungle.
They won't be able to though, because Motor Joe goes past. There is a ward from the Sins on their own red buff, so they'll spot if that does happen.
If that does happen, absolutely.
Power Fruit gets the early blue buff. We saw him gank from the start of the game last time round.
He is heading topside. I think he is going for that red buff. Ra's still on the red buff, hasn't taken it actually, very slow.
Yeah, there will be vision for the Sins that this is happening. As of course, we'll be holding our breath for this 2v2 bottom lane to see if the play goes through. Chime looking for some revenge here as Kraft makes an early trip past the mid lane and takes the bomb to the face.
Oh, we're getting a collapse.
The Power Fruit. That's going to force a flag and drag. Power Fruit gets out but burns the flash to do so.
Does get the buff, but it does require flash. So we're seeing good response. Good response from the Sins. Had the vision. We're ready.
Yeah, it's worked out pretty damn well for them. Though Dr. Hufflepuff has been managing to take Motor Joe to school up in the top lane in the early going. Managing to get them down to half health. But of course, the Renekton, with that sustain built in, we're looking to try and get the...
One hits. Very great trade for him.
But there's the heal.
There's the heal. Empowered heal as well, so he heals up quite a bit from that. But it is meant to be Renekton as a lane bully, and doesn't seem to be doing that at the moment. And if he can't find a way in in the early stages of the game, may find it difficult in the later stages.
Not seeing any fear at all from Hufflepuff on the Shen. In fact, chunking out Motor Joe. Again, that empowered heal, especially if it's used on the champion, will be able to make up for some of these trades going not in Motor Joe's favour. But yeah, right now, Renekton has got all their abilities up, has got the potential of being a big killer, but Hufflepuff just too tanky.
You see they are fighting. Shenzin's pot has been burned, so Honest is definitely putting in that work, making him pressured, feel under that Nautilus hook as well. They definitely have the upper hand in this bot lane at the moment, but we do see Power Fruit sneaking into the bot side. Could look for a gank, but Tribush is warded, so it would be spotted.
Drake will be the first one up as we've got Kraft up.
One hits again.
Oh boy, Motor Joe, yeah, it's getting clobbered here. Both of them have got teleport, both of them have got shields. Motor Joe goes in.
Flash.
There's the combo, crowd control, and first blood for the Sins.
That was really well played. That pathing has been really great from Talia actually, and you can see that she's building up a CS lead, and she gets to kill under her belt as well. So Talia with items can be very, very scary. Can one-shot your ADC, and there isn't as much tanky support on the side of the Roccet team this time, so could be a very dead Shenzhen if that Talia gets ahead.
You can see, yeah, Chime getting very aggressive with the position.
Dredge line?
Grenade taken down very low, forcing the exchange of summoners. Honest does get traded back on pretty heavily, as Yoon just about escapes out. No flash anymore, no heal for Shenzhen either. just down to 2 summoners for the bottom lane.
There we see, I've just mentioned, before we spoke about in that draft select, that Janna is not looking,
there's a catch, but Power Fruit is here.
Power Fruit's here.
Time Bright is taken low already. There's the lock in place. It's on his sleep already. Massive damage and utility on the Aphelios at the same time.
A lot of damage. Managing his guns really well, actually. Using that AoE damage to just push Threaten and Power Fruit away, and nothing comes out of that gank. He is returning, though.
And in the mid lane, we've also got another play as Kali is
she flash
down. Yeah, forces the flash under the tower. Kali
double flash
annihilated. Wow, Craft is coming alive.
And there's a problem of that AP mage I told you about. To be fair, Ziggs does have that bounce, but once he has no flash, he looks like to be a sitting duck in the rest of the team now. Ignite is burned though, has TP to join that sort of thing.
Alright, so it's a pretty big advantage for the Sins. Down the bottom side has remained mostly even, though we've got a returning Honest coming back with the pickaxe. I mean, what we've seen from Honest so far seems to be making the hype somewhat believable. Because, yeah, just incredibly crisp play on the Aphelios.
Definitely, very clean, knows his limits, knows how much damage he can put out, wasn't too scared of the Jarvan gank, so definitely the team are almost playing with a different sort of mentality as well. You can see that they're a lot more confident in making their plays, so I think they are boosted maybe by that entry from their main ADC player.
Oh, for sure, and it does seem like now for Roccet Academy, the idea of getting the advantage down the bottom side is a very far away proposition. I think that's why we've got to rely on Yune's Janna if that's ever going to happen. First Drake is a cloud, no overtures made towards it as of yet.
And you do see Renekton starting to win these trades out, and that isn't a good sign for the sign of Sins. Oh, in the Roccet, sorry. Stand United.
Stand United out. That was the respect for Craft's damage as the smited blue buff.
Smite does come through. But you do see that Jarvan's sitting at level 4 whilst Talia is sitting at level 6. There's a very big level discrepancy there. A lot of gold in the hands of Talia right now. Yeah, actually has the most gold in the game.
Yeah, more CS, more kills, more assists. So far, Power Fruit has barely been able to get into the game at all ever since that early invade.
Game really has been turned upside down compared to game 1, where Power Fruit had the tempo, was making the plays, but it seems to be that Craft has been definitely ahead of him this game, has the tempo, looking to make the plays, is being active, and it's being forcing Power Fruit to just be reactive to his plays as well.
And that's not working anywhere near as well as it did for Power Fruit being the one that's choosing their plays. So there we go, Craft doesn't have very much mana left to make the play, but they're not going to.
Don comes through. There's the Annie.
There's a combo. You were talking about it from right back in Champ Select, and it's just happening exactly.
You don't want early kills on Annie, and she's getting them, and it doesn't look good for Roccet at all. She's going to be able to one-shot that Kai'Sa once she gets those items in, and it's just looking all to play for right now. Our series looks to be blown wide open right at this point.
That's very, very bad news. If you're a Roccet Academy fan, things turning against them pretty heavily down the bottom side.
Massive ceiling, dress line.
Shenzhen gets caught in place. The defensive prowess of the Janna will keep Shenzhen alive for the time being, but they're still super far behind. Giving over priority in the bottom side means that the Sins can move onto this Drake without any trouble.
Yeah, and you've got a pretty much 20 CS lead being built up, nearly equivalent to just over a kill there. You've got the difference in gold is like nearly 400. So despite not having any kills in the bot lane, definitely ahead. And the Aphelios provides a very scary threat at the moment. The Jarvan's not doing much work, and the Jarvan's a very early game jungler. And if he can't get his ganks off, if he can't get those early game ganks with the Cataclysm down, then he's going to be falling off behind. And his team are going to also be struggling, and you can see there's a massive gold lead already building, just with 3 kills.
Yeah, it's been very impressive what we've been seeing from the Sins so far. They're back into their rhythm, they're back with their main AD carry, they're back to their original style rather than trying to adapt on the fly to a player, as we said, was playing an AD carry as a support sub. So it's a very different Sins for game number 2, and I think for Roccet, they're going to be very glad that they've got the 1 game's grace. They can afford to drop this game and come back with an adjusted plan for game 3.
You see Kraft hovering on top side. I'm not sure if he's looking for the gank. No, he's just backing off. Maybe looking at Rift. Is warded up.
Well, Vision's amazing for the Sins up near the Herald.
It would be absolutely... They could push their lead really hard for Necton and force Shen to not be able to do that much. And then he's already losing the lane. So, is struggling. Did much better on the Mordekaiser, so... I'm quite surprised we haven't seen any plays around the bot side this time around, actually. Stan United hasn't been used aggressively, but I don't think Motor Joe's been given Hufflepuff any chance to breathe. There's a fight in the top lane.
There we go, there's the knock-up. Motor Joe locked in place, does get the heals, but finally the ult comes out, the flash.
Flash is out!
Power Fruit does get the kill anyway. We've got Kraft coming in from the side, but they're too late to the fight, and finally for Roccet Academy, there's some good news.
Motor Joe does have TP, but Jarvan should have stayed to help push that wave in because Shen's pushing power is very slow, especially without that Tiamat, and only has Sunfire to help him at the moment. I think Kraft might help to cover that wave.
Sleep
is parking top side.
Up here. Could potentially be in trouble. Takes another hit in there. But
it's the 5 stacks.
No, there's no play. TP on the Rift.
Oh, there's our first TP.
This is where the Sins are going to be coming in. There's the flash.
And the anti-flash.
Power Fruit is annihilated, ripped apart by the pure power of the Annie burst. This means the Sins, they've got their play. And United into the bottom lane. Honest, under the tower. Where's
there's the play we're talking about.
Shenzhen gets the kill. And it's looking like it could even be a double. It's going to be close. Going back in is Chime.
He goes back in. Chime.
One more shot would do it.
With her life.
It's not to be.
There's the play that we were looking for. That's the play that I've been talking about all series, that they should be using. Stan United to go in. And they executed it beautifully. Get separated. Kill Instinct with the Kaiser goes straight in. Dies onto Aphelios. Aphelios without the Nautilus can't do that much. Not at this point in the game. So that all needed money is going on to Shenzhen. And you can see things are being evened up. They are matching in gold now. But that being said, despite being dead, ADC carries are even in gold.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to how well Honest has been playing out this bottom lane as the Herald is dropped into the top, eventually picked up by the 7 Deadly Sins.
Power Fruit's here.
After that pick onto Power Fruit as the tower is basically gone, and that's a chunk of plating as well, giving across the Kraft, who's already been making a big impact.
Yeah, and that gives free ult. He doesn't know.
Nice.
The knock-up hits.
Hufflepuff has only got the barest sliver of a tower to hide behind, but oh boy, almost happened there. And Hufflepuff doesn't have a flash to get away if it happens again.
And that is the tower going to be going down. First tower of the game, and that just shows just how much presence they've had in that bot lane all game. He's back! Cataclysm!
And Motor Joe, this time round, this is so dangerous, but it's another kill for Power Fruit. Even if the 2 towers fall, it's still going to be advantage to the 7 Deadly Sins.
Oh, you can see Power Fruit's side. It's actually spent a lot of time around the top side. Both junglers have turned their attention to the top side a lot, with only Hufflepuff really making the plays down the bot side this game. You can see that not much action has been happening around the bot side, with only 1 death apiece in the bot side and 1 kill onto the Kaiser. So that Annie, I'm looking towards that Annie. She is going to be very scary as we're reaching the mid stages of this game.
I mean, she's just proven how brutal she can be. Power Fruit being kept out of the middle lane by just the steadfast assurance if they go anywhere near Fletcher, they are just instantly dead.
Knock up hits.
Knocked up. There's the ult dropping down as well, but Shenzhen is not being focused. They're not going to go any further though, because Vision Supremacy has been established for the Sins in the river. That means that this is dangerous territory for Roccet Academy.
Yeah, this looks to be the second dragon. Do they want to contest it? Nautilus is very low, Chime is sitting quite low. And Roccet have full vision priority over this area right now. They've actually pushed them completely off.
Impressive. 7 Deadly Sins, they don't want to contest for this second Drake, so we're going on to Ocean Rift with both of our teams having the opportunity to push towards that soul at equal speed. Motor Joe, though, has been left alone in the top side to push in the tower, and is getting some good time with the tier 2.
Whacking away on that turret. We really don't want to see, though, an Ocean Soul onto that Aphelios. Can heal so much, especially with that healing gun. So Dragon priority, I think, will start to become more of a problem now, and we want to see more vision around that when the Dragon is coming up.
Checking in on the goal between the two teams, particularly notable between the junglers and the mid lanes. Nearly 1,000 separating both of them from each other. I mean, you know, no kills at all for Kali in this game. They have been abused in that middle lane. Craft is nearby in the top. We know how powerful they can be, but there's not much to defend the mid.
You'll see that Jarvan's picked up Sunfire, which means he won't be doing very much damage this game. He's opted for that tank build. He's understood that Annie's very scary. Will be blowing his carries up and himself up, it looked like, from what we saw earlier. So he's had to go tanky, but that also means that the damage threats are only from Ziggs and Kai'Sa, whereas the side of Sins have Talia, Annie, and Aphelios, and that Renekton. So they are looking very scary. A lot of damage on that team.
Yeah, having 4 threats is definitely a lot better than 1, especially when you're this far ahead in gold, so you can start really itemizing them as well. We've seen the Kraken Slayer coming in for Honest Sleep to be able to enable that further burst as the play is developing around the mid. This is the last remaining tier 1 tower of the Roccet Academy team. They've held on to it for now, but you can see the mid control for the Sins and the advancing vision locking Roccet out of their own jungles.
Not seeing as much vision as I'd like. We have got vision on the bot side, but we've got an inefficient ward there. You can see with that control ward and the vision ward there, but they really want to start setting up vision. They could even start to threaten as the Baron starts to come up soon. So I want to see a lot of vision coming out from the side of Sins, and honestly, in a dark world, it's very scary for Roccet right now. And Annie Tibber's coming out from just nowhere, which just absolutely blow you up. Not a fun feeling at all.
No, absolutely not. And every one of these unwarded, unvisioned bushes for the Roccet team could be the bush that contains their instant death. Fletcher does show themselves on the bottom side, though, to reduce that perceived threat. Once this tier 1 tower falls, the territory of Roccet is going to shrink considerably.
And we talked about that bot lane matchup, and even though that he's died once, Honest is sitting above about 1k ahead of Shenzhen, despite Shenzhen picking up that kill. So you can see how much money has gone actually onto Honest with those plates, with those towers that they picked up, those 2 tower lead. He is looking scary with that Kraken Slayer.
At least Shenzhen now has a Kraken Slayer of their own to match, but the tier 1 tower, it's been fought for fiercely.
That's just even more gold.
A chunk more gold. It goes to Honest Sleep as well. He's already incredibly strong.
And they are posturing. They set up that vision. They are posturing that Baron. Not that Baron. Sorry, that Rift Herald. And they could use that to extend their lead, push their lead a lot further, getting that turret. If they get that mid lane open, that can open up for a very scary jungle on either side if they have vision. Oh, they've got to play.
Stand United gets the turnaround, though. There's a shutdown exchange. Not quite where they wanted that goal to end up with, but it's still an even trade. Though the Herald, as you said, goes across on the top side. We do get to see there's a very small window opportunity to fit that Stand United in there before you're blown up, and Hufflepuff managed to find it.
Yeah, but unfortunately the money does go on to Shen. That was a lot of money going on there, but does at least get the return kill. It's unfortunate that Ziggs does fall in that fight, though.
So for the time being, Kali will have to make do. Has at least got enough money to get the Leandri's Anguish to become something of a damage threat. But yeah, it's been really locked out this game so far by how strong Fletcher has been. I think Fletcher's a player definitely worth bringing more than one player to fight.
Yeah, you can just see it. There's just so much gold on the side of the Sins. Key items are being picked up. Gold Drink is available now. Motor Joe. We've got that Ludens on both Craft and Fletcher. A lot of burst damage coming out.
Fruit unfortunate flag almost gets them caught out as the next Drake comes up. The first Ocean, which will set up one of these teams to move forward into potential Soul territory later on. Right now, though, vision is great for the Sins. They managed to lock down again the river. We have got Hufflepuff with the Stand United. No, sorry, it's not off cooldown right now, so we'll be able to cash it in.
Both top laners have TP. Neither side's opting for it. I'm not sure why, because Sins have absolute priority over the dragon right now, so they could be starting this.
Craft is locked in place now, and there's the killer instinct.
The killer instinct come through.
The Shenzhen will fall in return. The flash away as Fletcher is being chased out the jungle as well. Another flag, but no drag to follow it up this time around. The Annie is already without the ult. It's been a brutal exchange, but Honest is still up at full power.
The top laners seem to have a gentleman's agreement and not coming down on for that fight. No reaction from either side of the top laners. But you saw Shenzhen, what I was talking about earlier. Fletcher absolutely blown him up. No chance to breathe there. He does go in with the Killer Instinct, and we saw that last game using Killer Instinct very aggressively. But he has to be careful of that. He can't do that this game, because once that happens, Fletcher will absolutely blow him up like you saw just now.
It makes me wonder, you know, as much as in the last game we saw Shenzhen pick up the Quicksilver, I don't even know if that's enough for this one if you're just going to get blown up and killed as soon as you try and go anywhere near the opposing squad.
Ominous is procced, but Shen looks to be on the better side of this trade.
Oh,
I spoke too soon.
Motor Joe is forced to flash away though by the arrival of reinforcements as the Drake is started up. So advantage for Motor Joe, but they're too weak to TP into the play. They will not need to do so though. No steal this time.
No steal this time. They don't let that one happen, and that is Dragon going over to the side of Sins. I have to say, I think if you are on the side of Roccet, you are very grateful that it is Ocean Soul and it is not Infernal Soul, because imagine that Infernal Soul burst coming out from that Annie, that Talia. So they're very lucky to be on that Ocean Soul instead of the Infernal Soul.
Herald is cashed in. Stand United very early on, the lock craft into place. The bombs from a far craft.
Gibbons doesn't hit.
And it's going to be Chime's being chased away as well. Hufflepuff is down incredibly low, but Chime is still alive as the escape is almost good. The Vigil doesn't get the job done. Halfru is on the side of the fight looking for their way in. But Chime is the only one low right now. Surely
Monsoon is pop though.
Joe gets tagged up, taken down to half health. It's really looking like we're going to be seeing Roccet chasing this fight further, but they have no more ability to follow up. Oh boy. I give all credit to Roccet Academy for managing to not lose that last fight, but it didn't feel like they had the right team to be able to follow up with the play once the ults were down.
We had a slight pause due to Discord issues, but we're back. And you can see that gold is just continuing to grow in the side of the 7 Deadly Sins. And I have to say, Counterfeit, I think we're looking at a 3-game series. I have to eat my humble pie, and we're not looking at that 2-0. Shenzhen doesn't look like he's able to rein in that aggression. Killer Instinct cannot be used so aggressively now. He has to watch for that sun from Fletcher coming through, otherwise he'll be blown to bits.
Yeah, I mean, Shenzhen's got those 2 kills locked down right now, but Power Fruit on the Jarvan has been stealing away, I think, more of the kills than perhaps the Roccet team would like. Still nothing for Cali in the game, as much as they've been trying to make themselves part of the plays. They've now got a Banshee's Veil on the Ziggs to try and stop themselves from being blown up, but further keeping their damage from being a major factor in the game.
Yeah, Ziggs hasn't finished boots. 24 minutes into the game, hasn't finished boots. Not sure what's going on there, but with how slow he already is, and the burst that comes from Annie, I don't know if that's not what you want to be doing. So, very questionable build choice here.
It does seem strange because, yeah, I would have assumed that the Banshee's Veil would generally be there to try and, protect your investment, but right now, there's nothing too much to protect for Cali.
No, there isn't, and there's just, like I said, so much engage coming from the side of Sins. I really like their comp. Like I said in the beginning, they have so much engage that there's so many tools to get in on that that Shenzhen on that Kai'Sa. So it's all to play for, but Roccet have a very he's caught out here. Just a friendly.
Getting a little too aggressive there.
They looked past and then they just walked off.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Kraft, even with only 1 kill, they've got those 3 assists. We've seen how ridiculously powerful they can be. And I think a testament to that is that Kraft has, even though they have no stacks in it, they bought themselves a Magi Soul Stealer with every intention of stacking it up.
Simple build choice. I'm not sure about that purchase. Has no stacks, isn't really racking up the kills either. Personally, I think he's memeing here.
That's never happened before in Balance League.
Of course. But, you know what, we'll go with it and we'll just see if he manages to pick up stacks on that. But I'm looking towards Fletcher on this Annie and he's looking very, very scary for the 7 Deadly Sins right now, and Roccet have a hard task ahead of them.
We've got the Morella Nomicon completed as well for Fletcher to continue to put the pressure on. Though, for Shenzhen, they've got the Collector completed. She said there's so much being put on Shenzhen after their blistering performance from game number 1, but it's just not seeming like the circumstances are the same to allow Shenzhen to take flight.
Yeah, and then we see the dragon is coming up. And you can see that Sins are in position. Chime is stepping forward aggressively, very much so. And we saw a bit of that last game, didn't we, Counterfeit, with the positioning of Chime. Stepping forward a bit too unnecessary sometimes, getting caught. But this time it is very tanky on the Nautilus.
Yeah, a lot more room for error there. I think Chime really wanted to be the one to make the plays. Getting punished for it before, this time round, it's going to make the play. Misses the hook, so that means still though territory given across to the Sins. As again, around these Drakes, the Sins have been controlling ground expertly and always forcing Roccet to go in blind.
Yeah, you can see that Dragon Pit does have that sneaky control ward in that bush, but it looks like they're going to be able to secure that easily. Dredgeline just Depth Charge just come out just for zoning. And they walk away, gets that Ocean Dragon for free. Now, Soul is on the cards. I think this game is in Sins' hand. They're looking towards Baron, and that could definitely extend their lead, pushing forward. But no, they're going for Hufflepuff.
There we go. We have got the semi-global power of Craft's Weaver's Wall. Just kind of hoping that nobody's in there. Flashes forward as the wall drops. Hufflepuff gets boomed.
Red line. Hits.
The text line. As the rest of the
That's
squad,
a lot of damage.
Hufflepuff somehow gets away for a second, but it's only a fleeting moment. The rest of the team, though, Roccet, have gone straight to the mid lane.
I like this. I like this.
There's a knock up onto the Annie. There's a lockdown.
Cashism. Flashes.
Lost the flash and the mid lane tower in exchange for the single top laner kill.
I think that's very well played macro-wise in terms of the side of Roccet. They just go straight for tower, although they are backing off the Baron completely, and now they're having to walk into their jungle blind. Fletcher is charging up that stun, and I think they just give it over.
It's going to be big. The TP's coming in. Surely Roccet can't afford to take this fight down in numbers. There's no Stand United. The Baron still is being taken. The bomb is no good as in comes Power Fruit. Can't make the steal because the 7 Deadly Sins are too crafty for that one. The Baron gets taken down as Kraft gets a last second reprieve from the kill. And the Sins, they may have done all they need to take this game home.
Yeah, that was a great zoning TP. Gives no way in. Don't think it was necessary perhaps. I think they secured it anyway. But again, I'm just bringing it back to this channel. I'm not a fan of this pick. It doesn't suit the playstyle that we've seen from Shenzhen coming in from so far with that aggressive killer instinct, and it just doesn't allow him to play that aggressively either because they split so far.
No, as well, the Zig's definitely not working out at all for Roccet Academy or Roccat's Academy. One of the two. So far, has the ability to push down the towers, but right now, Roccet, they haven't managed to get more than one in this game. They've been kept so far away.
Oh, we reset the red buff.
Ah.
We love to see it. So there we have just clearing out that vision. almost for a fleeting second thought Shenzhen would have a moment of madness, killer instinct in, and just die. But Rain's in it. And there are the 2 upgrades onto Kai'Sa now with that empowered Q and that invisibility coming through on E might give him a bit more of a chance to survive, but honestly, if Fletcher hits the stun onto Shenzhen, Shenzin's dead.
Power fruit coming from the
Good
side.
line.
Shenzhen burns the flash.
This is
Sound United is also calls to burn and Shenzhen walked into the team and just gets annihilated. The Sins have come calling as they charge into the base. Shenzhen ultimately could not measure up to what the Sins were putting out as a team. So much weight being put on the carry's shoulders. And into the Nexus towers. The Sins annihilating Roccet Academy. We're going to 1-1 in this best of 3 series. And the Sins, they're looking incredibly good to bring the series
doing his very best, but he gets absolutely popped. And what a game that was. We spoke about the bot lane dominance, and it came through despite not many kills on that bot lane in the initial early game. But Fletcher on that Annie, looking very scary indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it felt really like Fletcher was the one carrying that game there, because, I mean, honestly, we saw they could play incredibly well, but, it was Fletcher, it was Kraft, who the ones we were seeing most involved in the plays, and, getting the actual kills through.
Yeah, and I brought it up at the beginning of the champion select, but that Janna pick just really didn't work for them. You saw how much engage. And I guess maybe they were thinking we were looking for a disengage, but at that point you want to keep Shenzhen alive, and that Janna just would be dead as soon as he got hit by any form of CC. So I'm interested to see if the Rel comes back. I'm looking for something tankier like the Rel, but they definitely need to rethink their strategy here, because I don't think they can compete in that CC battle there.
So yeah, a lot to change here for Roccet Academy as we head towards game number 3, opening up our first week of Season 11. One more game to determine who goes forward with the W. Certainly Roccet have shown us a lot of spirit, but for the Sins, they are looking unstoppable, certainly from that second game. Guys, stick around. Game 3 come up in just a few short minutes' time, the decider to see who takes it all. Welcome back, everyone, to Valence League week number 1. This is only our first day of play before, of course, day 2 on Thursday, but we're already getting to 3-game series now. My name is Counterfeit, joined by Jess once again for the decider to see who's going to be going home with all the marbles. We've seen an impressive play from Roccet Academy in game number 1 against the 7 Deadly Sins with a substitute AD carry, but when the real deal on his sleep arrived, it was a totally different story.
Yeah, we saw a massive bot lane disparity, but also big mention for Fletcher. Did a lot of work in that last game, and no credit should be left for without him mentioning him as well. So interesting game to say the least. It's taken us to game 3. And I'm excited for this game. I want to see what's going to be brought up. I want to see how they adjust, because I haven't really seen any adjustments from the side of Roccet so far. And, well, their slight twist on Rel became Janna. So I want to see a different support. I want to see hard engage. If they're going to build around Shenzhen, that's what I want to see. I want to see a comp that protects Shenzhen, allows Shenzhen to go aggressive, that can follow up his aggression as well.
Yeah, it felt like in the last game, Roccet were hoping maybe for this later game where Shenzhen would be able to come alive, but it never really materialized. We can see on his sleep, even when they were being ganked 3 against 2, they were absolutely brutal. I feel bad for Shenzhen, honestly. So you put up against on his sleep here, be told, you're going to be our primary carry up against the strongest player on the opposing team.
Yeah, and what can you do, really? There was so much just aggression from the support. Nautilus, definitely a good pickup. I really like that. Provides a lot of engage and a lot of peel as well. So despite being a very strong Swain player, maybe we'll leave that for the solo queue, but keep those strong team fight supports coming in, like Leona, that Nautilus, and I think we might see a Sins win if they pick up the same comp, something similar.
Certainly the Sins have looked incredibly strong as we're getting into the next champion select in a second. And you're right, for Roccet Academy, they're the ones where the impetus is to change. That last game was amazingly played from Kraft on the Talia, Fletcher on that Annie, which is terrifying. Honestly, didn't even feel like they needed to step up there and show off because Kraft and Fletcher were carrying the game so hard.
And there's the Seraphine ban again, takeover away from Yune. Bans haven't been adjusted too much, which I'm quite surprised by, maybe to keep people off their main roles or their main picks in that role, but I want to see what's coming through. Are they adjusting it? No, they're not adjusting it again, so Galio is banned this time round.
So Samira being banned again on his sleep, still getting the attention despite... I mean, I suppose at this point, which we saw, there were so many threats coming in from the Sins, it's gonna be almost impossible to cover all of your bases, just trying to take away the worst case scenarios here for Roccet Academy.
Yeah, but I'm surprised. I think they maybe first pick Kaiser once again, get Shenzhen on that comfort pick. He looks very good on it when he's allowed to be aggressive. There's the Annie ban.
Yeah!
That's just when I was expecting. They don't want that anymore, so Talia comes through again.
Yeah, this does seem like a big pick left open for the Sins here. We have seen Kraft before on the Carthus. We know that whatever they've been playing, they've been making a pretty damn big impact, of course. You can tell the Sins.
It's the Malphite. The Malphite gets through. Motor Joe gets his Malphite, and we're in for some wombo combos, I feel like. Do they first pick the Kaiser is what I want to see. I would put him back on it, and I would just take it away from Honest, because Honest can play that Kaiser as well. Is he going to go for it?
We've still got to see what the bottom lane composition ends up being. Right, put
the Zaya.
Okay, something very different on the mind of Roccet Academy.
Zaya is played by Shenzhen quite often, so he's no stranger to the champion. Not just picking it purely because of the Malphite, but makes sense. Can dodge the Malphite ult with her feathers, so... Ooh, I like the Silas pick. Whenever you see a Malphite on the enemy team and the Silas comes through, that is very scary because it can just throw another rock right back at you.
I'm not sure. Well, Fletcher back on the Malzahar with the Annie banned away. So yeah, we've got some pretty damn good ultimates for the Silas of Steel. We know Dr. Hufflepuff, and they're given the task to dominate the top lane, are very much up for it. Callie was another one of those players for Roccet Academy who didn't get to shine in the previous game. This time, they've got a much more powerful pick. The Syndra going to go toe-to-toe with Fletcher's Malzahar.
Callie gets their Syndra, and we're going to be seeing quite an aggressive-looking mid lane, I think. I don't think Malzahar will be able to push in those lanes as easily. We'll have to be wary of that level 6 scary play from Syndra. Jhin is banned, Rakan is also banned, so I wonder what we're going to get in that bot lane for support. I don't want to see Janna counterfeit. I'm not going to be happy if I see a Janna. If I see anything squishy, I'm not going to be happy with that at all. They need to play around him. Shenzhen has shown his ability to carry the game. We've also seen Hufflepuff, so maybe he goes onto a tank, or maybe he goes onto a damage deal. Aphelios is taken away.
Yep, that's 3 bans towards the AD carry position. Honestly, I mean, the Sins, yeah, they had to see this one coming. They left the AD carry pick to the very end to get Kraft back on the Talia once again. They were so incredibly dominant ever since that level 1 invade. The Sins just drove Power Through out of the early game.
I'm honestly thinking, because Shenzhen is so... Oh, there's the rail ban. I like that ban. That's a very good ban. They saw how good Yune played on it. That shows to me that they're thinking about their draft. They've adjusted, and I expect to see another strong engage bot lane.
So,
on the side of Sin, sorry. Yes. Udyr?
Oh boy, I hope it happens.
We've got the through.
This is Power Fruit's style of play. They have been spamming Udyr repeatedly recently. He comes in like a rocket into these lanes, and I think this is exactly what Roccet needed to do to mix things up for this deciding game.
That is going to be so interesting. I think Power tends to go towards that Sunfire AP build of the Lich Bane, so there's quite a lot of AP threat coming from the side of Roccet. Kai'Sa is taken, and Honest does like to play that Kai'Sa with the Morgana. Potentially, I did want to see an engaged support, but she does provide at least, I think at least she provides better peel. She's got the spell shield. Maybe they won't be able to get the stuns as easily onto Honest, and with a big Malphite ult can keep the others at bay, but it will be very difficult to stop some of the ults, because Silas can be very annoying with some of the ults that he can take this game.
Yeah, we've got to still remember again that every good ultimate over there for the Sins is also in the hands of Power Fruit. As the support pick remains to be seen here, it will be something beefy and engagey. This is what you wanted to see.
This is what we wanted. Oh, we love. Yeah, we're in for a really good fight. I think the bot lane is looking quite scary with Xayah Leona. Xayah takes a while to scale, but with a lot of engage coming through the Leona, especially on that level 6, but you do have the spell shield to negate it. So I'm interested to see how the junglers play around. I want to see the Udyr getting those early aggressive ganks off, but I think it's all to play for. I like these drafts. I think they've drafted quite well. There's a lot of pick potential, but I think obviously, whilst you might think that Sins have a better team fight, there's a lot of AoE, a lot of just knockups coming through for that Malphite ult. Remember, like you said, Hufflepuff on a carry champion too could just steal that ult and just give it right back to them.
So here we go, guys. Let us know in the chat as we're heading into the spectator delay who you think is going to take that decisive game number 3. It does not feel like Roccet Academy have been put down by that second game of crushing. They've come back and changed things on his sleep, on the big carry. But Shenzhen, maybe this time they'll get the chance to really measure up.
I want to see a level 6 TP from Malphite. That's what I want to see. A deep vision ward in from the side of Sins, and a Malphite ult coming in straight in. A hard rock right in your face. That's what I want to see this game. And I expect to see lots of flash ults from Malzahar. We saw that in game 1. He was not shy to flashing in and ulting at all. But with Honest as the ADC, I expect more play around bot side. Honestly, I don't think Malphite will do fare too well in that Silas lane. Silas lane will undoubtedly probably start corrupting Flask and will out-sustain. They'll both probably start that, but with the healing brought in by Silas, with that innate healing, it will be quite a rough lane, I get, before level 6.
All right, Jess, before we do get into the third game, let's start talking a bit bigger picture. So run me through, for each of these sides, what are you seeing as their main strengths? Is it teamfight? Is it pick? Is it the late game?
Well, if you look at the side of Sin's comp, they are looking very scary. Lots of teamfight potential. Got lots of lockdown from that Morgana ult, the suppression from the Malzahar. Their teamfight late game will be very scary to play into because they're going to find it very difficult to get onto that Kai'Sa, especially once she gets that upgraded E with that invisibility. So it'll be all down to I want to see a lot of playmaking from the side of Roccet because they need to get early picks, they need to get a lot of gold onto their carries. They don't want their Shenzhen to fall behind. Otherwise, late game, it'll be very difficult for them to pull through with an Udyr who doesn't provide that much in a team fight. So they're very much reliant on, I think, Hufflepuff getting really big ults with that Silas ult. And that's what it relies on. I think early mid-game should be in the hands of the side of Roccet. But it also depends because it depends on how the focus is. And I think it is a lot on you. We've seen how aggressive Power Fruit can play. We've seen how much he likes going in for those ganks. And Udyr is definitely, like you said, one of those champions that he's practiced. He's well versed on that champion. He's comfortable on it. So if he goes for it, and if he gets his laners ahead, we could be seeing a very, very strong mid game from the side of Roccet. So provided that the Sins play their early game well, they don't lose out in just the early game pressure that a Leona has, especially if a Leona manages to roam. I think an early game should be in the hands of Roccet, but late game is looking very good for the side of Sins.
All right, so give me some odds here. Yes.
If you're going to spot, yeah, right.
Internet bookie time.
Right.
So, it sounds like we've kind of divided this game into, early or late. So if the game is decided pre 30 minutes, what odds are you giving for a Roccet win?
I think. Oh, you've put me on the spot. I'm just. I want to say that they have good odds, but from the gameplay that I saw last game, I've lost faith. I've lost faith against it.
Well, so the audience have as well. The 7 Deadly Sins getting 2/3 of our votes from the Twitch chat as the eventual winners of the series. I don't know. I mean, for Roccet Academy, I'm still hoping that we get to see a competitive game from them. It feels like they've corrected a lot of the problems from last time round. We've got Kelly on a more aggressive mid laner. We've got a more aggressive support, and we've got Power Fruit on a jungler who they can make a huge impact on early on. It feels like they're so much better than before.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. So we're just going to get synced up for the beginning of the game. So I believe I am ready. Jess, you ready as well?
I am also ready. Yep.
All right, on to the Rift for the final time tonight, at least on this stream. Of course, we'll be back on Thursday for our next round of games. Well, of course, the games are going on as well. For Roccet Academy and for the 7 Deadly Sins, this decides the best of 3. The Sins came in as favored. They've just got to finish the job.
And we don't see any 5-man antics like we saw last game. Very odd start that we saw last game. Very standard
really
start.
Well for the...
It did, it really did.
Well, the invade didn't work. It was leaving the ward back on their own red buff that eventually caused Power Fruit to get caught out and stole away their early flash and their ability to make early plays on the Jarvan.
Yeah, he got a bit baited into feeling pressure to take that red, I think, after seeing his own raid get taken. But the Sins were so ready to collapse on him, and he had to burn his flash very early on, which is quite big for a Jarvan in the early game.
Alright guys, stick around at the end of the game because we have been informed we will be getting an interview with one of the players from the winning team. You have to imagine at the end of this series, which has been so incredibly hard fought, that they're going to be absolutely wild. As our early game, yep, this time nowhere near as explosive as game number 2. We'll save that for our later team fights.
So we see standard starts, both junglers getting their leashes from the bot lane. Tilia does choose to go to Raptors, takes them very quickly. Doesn't choose to do the Raptors at all. And then chooses to go to the Wolves. Okay, so if we're looking like Ude is still on his Gromp. So I expect a gank perhaps on the mid or top lanes from the Tilia. Especially as the lanes aren't pushing in too hard at the moment.
It seems a good poke from Chime Bright's Morgana down the bottom has already managed to land a binding onto Shenzhen and cut down some of that health pool for when the inevitable level 2 play comes in.
There's that really annoying Malphite poke, especially with that corrupting potion. You can see that he sits quite healthy with that shield, but as Silas gets his levels up, as he gets that healing, it will become a lot harder for the Malphite 2 trade. Just has to survive the poke in the early levels.
You can see as well for Roccet Academy, they've got themselves a ward on the blue buff that Kraft is currently clearing out that kind of area. So they will be spotted heading up into the river and towards Powerfruit, who is clearing on relatively low health.
There's that mid gank that we spoke about. Is his hovering, chooses not to go for it. Will pick up the Scuttle, and not going to go for the Scuttle, actually just going to roam straight up to the top lane.
And that's where both junglers and both top players are ready for a fight. You can see Dr. Hufflepuff is absolutely waiting for it to happen. Kraft comes in onto the tap. Kraft can't find anything at all. Powerfruit is just off to the side waiting to go in for the play. At least the Udyr doesn't have a dash to be interrupted by Kraft's minefield.
Oh, we've got a potential gank in the top lane.
There's a flash forward, the knock up as well. The follow up, double flash, and then we've got the damage in from Powerfruit. It's going to try and take out 1v1. Gets the first blood. Kraft is trying to trade back, but just will get bared in the face. And won't get anything more.
Oh, if that hit, potentially Kraft has to flash for his life.
TP comes in, Hufflepuff has the flash left available and gets taken out. Oh my gosh. Nice play.
Flash burned. TP will have to use to get back into lane. The lane is crashing into his tower, so he loses out quite a bit there. We'll have to TP back. But like we saw last game, Honest is backing up that CS with a lot of threat from the Morgana binding from the Chime. So we are seeing a very dominant bot lane, and that CS lead is going to start to rack up, already doubling in CS.
Yeah, that's crazy good. Especially now, as you mentioned right before, Honest is on that Omega powerful Kaiser. It's going to be a big problem for the rest of the squatters. We know that Black Shield is going to keep the Kaiser safe in his later fights, keep all those fair stuns away, and allow for the Honest show to take over the whole game.
Yeah, and you can see that there's some really great ward there next to Powerfruit's Gromp. You can see that he's been spotted out taking the Gromp. So any potential ganks in the bot lane should be seen. They should know, but he is in the bush. It is. Oh no!
There's a catch onto Bright, forcing the flash away, the follow-up, and there's the stun locking in. Shenzhen gets the kill. Kraft is coming in for the assist, but it's only going to be able to tickle Powerfruit on the way out as the Udyr ganks. Working pretty well so far.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to see from Powerfruit and exactly what we expected. Very strong ganker, is utilizing that stun really well. Very surprised actually that gank worked though, because they did see Powerfruit taking his crop, so they knew he was bot side. So that was quite a greedy walk up from Chime. Again, overstepping as we've seen from past games as well. So slight downfall there.
It does feel like the Sins are very much used to being the team that are in control of the game, and if you can throw them off then suddenly a lot more opportunities present themselves. But when you're behind, as we saw in the previous game for Roccet, they got nothing. This time round, even with full vision, Roccet are able to steal away that first Infernal Drake.
Fortunately, TPs haven't been used on both sides, won't be coming anytime soon, so we won't be seeing that TP play that I was looking for on that level 6. Oh, the binding.
Yes, I can see Bright is absolutely ready every time to get those binding shoes, knows exactly how to keep Shenzhen from recalling and getting back to lane in time.
That is actually very huge. For their bot lane has already built up a really big CS lead to stop that back and delay it. Means that Honest can push that lane in, and on a wave that isn't a cannon wave, the discrepancy is just going to grow even bigger with that CS lead. Shenzhen's going to lose almost 2 waves worth of experience and gold, so very, very far behind and not looking great for that in the bot lane right now.
Up in the top lane, Dr. Hufflepuff has been taking some pretty heavy aggression from Motor Joe, forced to recall without any teleport to get back to lane. So that's 2 lanes, no 3 lanes, all lanes where the 7 deadly sins are showing dominance. At least in the mid, the CS has remained relatively even, but there's still Fletcher pushing in there with Chime Bright to steal away as many of these plates early on and really push this gold lead.
Yeah, and what I think we need to see some more action and use of the teleport to just make the plays, because the Malzahar could definitely find a pick onto Shenzhen, find a pick onto that Yoon who's very mobile with that Leona. So I think that's what the Sins have to be doing, being more proactive. We need to see more teleport plays, because Kraft has got that early gank off, but hasn't been able to really do as much as Powerfruit, and Powerfruit is definitely in the driver's seat in terms of tempo, in terms of jungling.
They're struggling though, because Fletcher's not getting that spell shield drawn off, and of course Chime Bright can apply that black shield down the bottom side, so getting these stuns through is pretty darn tricky. Fletcher is moving forward though, being lured in, but the shield is still there, which means there's no gank.
That was Burn Flash though, which will be really good for a re-gank.
Fruits up towards the top side. The Rift Herald is still up in the mix. Only 300, 400 gold between the 2 teams. So that would put back Roccet into contention. Down the bottom side though, the gap continues to grow between the 2 bottom lane duos. The Morgana and the Kaiser together seem like they're too much for Shenzhen and Yune to deal with right now.
That being said, the level 6 from Xayah and Leona, it can be very... Oh!
Speaking of level 6s, there's the ult, but the stolen ult from a Hufflepuff means that they can at least make the distance and only burn the flash rather than giving their life after that last game. Roam from Fletcher catches the Udyr straight away. We have got the damage coming back in though, as Favreau will be forced away. Unfortunately, the mana's not quite there, but Hufflepuff gets the kill through. That is nicely done.
That was a great run from both top laners. We see a lot of action coming through actually on the top side of the map. And we go again!
Place and deleted! Powerfruit is coming alive! Callie in from the side, looking for the stun, and finds it! Gets their first kill. Roccet are back into the game. Down the bottom side, could it be 3 for 3? Chime is going to lock down the AD carry. And it's already pretty low. Shenzhen has been exhausted. The damage is on there. There's the ultimate though, and the shot combo. The Feather Storm, last bit of damage. Honest Sleep gets the
so low.
Flash for Shenzhen, gets the kill. Honest Sleep can do nothing but watch.
Shenzhen's looking very confident on this Xayah, I have to say. Looking for those aggressive plays, and surprise, lo and behold, when you put him with an engaged support, he's just enabled. Don't put a Janna on with him.
Oh boy, I mean that's incredible for Roccet Academy, winning across every single position there in that one small period of time. What a turnaround, and this does also mean they're getting the extra gold in to allow Powerfruit to have the turbo chem tank. This is absolutely ridiculous on the Udyr.
Very, very scary, especially with those buffs, with the changes to... Oh!
Here we go. Goes in there with Chime Bright. The shield is there, but there's the stun follow-up. And Chime Bright.
Oh!
No! There we go. Callie gets the kill. And it's 7-1 in favor Seven Deadly Sins, they look like they were in control of this game just a few moments ago.
It's exactly what I was talking about. Early game, mid game has to be executed well from the side of Roccet. We're looking for very aggressive players, very early players, and they've been providing exactly that. And honestly, Seven Deadly Sins haven't been responding really well. They haven't been looking for those plays. They haven't been trying to look for those picks themselves. They've been on the back foot a lot of the time.
Herald is cashed in as a distraction, but it did not seem like those Seven Deadly Sins were really looking to contest that Drake. But oh, it is Roccet Academy.
Ooh.
They've got the Drake advantage. They've got the Malzahar ult as well, but it's not really the right ultimate right now for Hufflepuff to stay alive. They have got the heal, but there's no assistance coming. Diving under the tower.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
With a sliver of health. And you can see, counter it, look at the kills. Despite being 7 kills to the side of Roccet, look at the gold. The gold isn't that far ahead of each other.
It's all the CS down the bottom side and the mid and the top as well. Every lane that
there's that chem tank.
The chem tank is ridiculous. But the black shield just stopped the
finding
entirely. And we've got the return play. Motojo comes in, the shutdown immediately onto Shenzhen. There's no more reinforcements coming. And that's a nice turnaround from the Sins, bringing their gold, even with only 2 kills, to above that of Roccet Academy.
There's that TP I was looking for. I've been speaking about it all game. I want those TPs in the bot lane. Doesn't come in with his Malphite unstoppable force, but comes in with a reliable Q, seismic toss, and it gets the kill onto Honest. Honest is looking very strong right now, despite being 7 kills down. Out. Is he dead?
Surely, no, not quite enough damage.
Unfortunate for Cali.
To assist, Fletcher will get caught up there, and there's not enough of assistance, I think, to keep Udyr alive. Has been exhausted, but Udyr, tremendously slippery, does get away. Azun comes in from the side. Keep your eye out for Shenzhen arriving from the right-hand side of your screen in a second. But this fight looks like it's done for now.
Wow, we've just had so much action, but it's looking really good, I have to say. Despite the gold, ignoring the gold, it's looking really good for Roccet. They've made picks that they're meant to. They've been playing according to their comp. They're playing the early mid game very aggressively. They've got 2 early dragons, and we could be looking at a very early soul. We've got Cali's looking very strong right now, 2 kills. But like you said, the CS lead is building up on the side of Seven Deadly Sins, and they're still even. Power Fruit has crept up here.
There's another play again. We have got the Udyr sneaking in from the side, so just getting ahead of the play. There is Craft, who is also out of mana. Power Fruit is trying to use the Bear Stunts to get away. The double kill for Ruff. We know what they can do with a little bit of gold.
That was just really good positioning from Craft with the Weaver's Wall. Really good. Can reach from the top lane from really far away from the river. So despite Power Fruit having actually a really good path to sneakily get behind that alcove, that didn't make any difference. And Craft with a lot of damage now. Again, with a lot of burst. Here we go.
There's again the attempt of the Black Shield. Such a spoiler. The Seven Deadly Sins. It's impossible to make the play while the shield is up, honestly. Drops on the... Oh, look at that damage! It's absurd. The cleanse is there as well. The ult is good. Shine Bright trades their life cross. No, they've got the stasis and they'll survive. Seven Deadly Sins, they're punching their way back into this game at speed.
A clutch stopwatch from Chime coming through there. Really, really nice. Initially, I like the aggression from Yune, but just not enough damage. So much damage you saw that coming out from Honest. And you put him on that Kai'Sa, that hyper carry. This is where it gets difficult for Roccet. They need to keep the aggression up. They need to keep the tempo up. Otherwise, they're going to be entering that late, scary team fight that we were talking about, that Seven Deadly Sins can bring to the table.
Power Fruit is lurking, but this is such a hard gank. Raph, though, walks right past Power Fruit into the jungle. I don't know if Power Fruit didn't see them, but no, they just walked across the control ward, so definitely the Sins have seen that Udyr trying to make the play.
But I really liked what I've seen from Fruit. He's been really aggressive, really look for those ganks. Needs to continue doing so, don't be disheartened. He's got that chem tank, so can get in there really quickly, but Really difficult to gank mid, as you said. That spell shield that Kali needs to proc before they can get in on that Fletcher.
And we're seeing the vision being pushed forward by the Sins as well, trying to catch that Udyr before the play is made. As Shenzhen burns the flash off of a single binding. It's not looking good for Roccet as they're being chased out of their own territory ahead of the next Drake spawning.
Yeah, and the Drake is coming up. Should be secured by Sins. And if Sins manage to get hold of 4 Cloud Drakes, they are going to have an unstoppable force Malphite running in their faces every single team fight. That's not going to be fun at all.
And shortening the time between those devastating combos again and again, especially with Fletcher having the ability to get the lockdown and almost guaranteed deletion on anyone who doesn't have a QSX.
Yeah, I think what Roccet really needs to be doing is trying to get that gold onto the Xayah, because that's the only damage that's going to be coming out at the moment consistently. Big burst damage will be coming out from Kali. Has got the Liandry picked up as well. But as we near closer and closer to the late game, 7 Deadly Sins comp will come online and it'll be very difficult for the Roccet team to execute their comp.
If we're looking at just the kills, right now there's 2 kills for Kali and 2 for Shenzhen. You know, you compare that across to the opposite numbers, we've got 0 and 1 respectively. That looks pretty good. But when it comes to the actual raw gold amount, I think if anything, yeah, they're almost identical between the two. In fact, advantaged, honestly, just because of the extra 50 CS on top.
Yeah, that's the power of just getting that plate gold, just CSing better than your opponent, and even despite being behind in kills, you can see that doesn't make a change to their monetary value in terms of how much they have. So Sin's doing very well with their CSing and definitely showing how to play around the map to keep dominance in lanes despite being ganked. And you can see that a massive gold lead and a massive CS lead is being built up from Honest. Oh, there's the flash ult.
We've seen it before, we'll see it again. All it does though is drive Kali away because Power Fruit was coming down the river. The Herald has been picked up by the Sins with nothing it's doing, as there's the catch onto Yun. The pick power as the flashes go across the wall. Of course, honestly, isn't held back by silly things like walls or anything that would stop a conventional mortal.
Yeah, we've seen it like you said, time and time again. This Kai'Sa, whoever's on the Kai'Sa, appears to be just using that ult really aggressively, never needs to use it defensively, and when a Kai'Sa is able to do that, you know, it's going to be a very difficult game. Has the free reign to be able to ult in aggressively. Has the follow-up too. We know that Fletcher wants to flash ult. We know that Motojo has that teamfight potential with that unstoppable force. And this is what Roccet needed to be doing last game, really. Needed to be supporting that diving Kai'Sa. Power Fruit's cool.
Herald ultimately doesn't turn into anything, so at least that's some good news for Roccet. But the Sins, they've got the Drake. Can't start, as you mentioned, those Cloud Drakes stacking up, going to be really, really terrible to deal with. There's the Baron come up in just a few moments' time. The advantage is there. Completed items? And what's this? Craft back on the Magi's again, you scallywag.
This one I'm not too unhappy with. I think he's been playing really well this game. Is starting to get those kills as well, so if he manages to get those stacks, he will be very, very, very scary. He is already scary at the moment, but even scarier than he is right now. I think what Roccet need to do is walk together, clear out vision together, because we've seen time and time again, Chime walking aggressively, looking for those picks, sometimes overstepping, but with the team there to back her up, we'll be able to get those picks, and if they don't walk in together, we'll just get taken out in that mid-game stage.
Shenzhen falling back as
the
middle, and Motojo is going to be one making the play. Of course, this time they don't necessarily need as much just to drive Kali away. The next Drake is coming. 7 Deadly Sins. They're setting up aggressively for it. Vision is again not quite there for Roccet, though it's not as bad as it has been before being on the red side.
That goal lead is very, very high, despite being very even on kills, and that's all just amounted from the tower plates, from the CS leads, and oh, here we go.
Motor Joe's gonna get caught out. They can't TP in for the play. If the play is being made onto them, they burn their flash, but they're still not going to be able to get away. There's a ton of damage. Their ult is stolen. Motor Joe is going to fall onto the tower just before the Drake spawns, and the Malphite ult is still there, flashes away as the 7 Deadly Sins come in. The ult misses on his sleep, comes to life, and tears up the backline. There's the lockdown with the Nether Grasp on the front line. The double kill for Raph. As the Sins get their revenge. The Weaver's Wall builds the house. The 7 Deadly Sins are going to take the best of 3 with a quadra kill for Raph. And that is what the Sins are made of.
Yeah, no freak. Voice cracking there on the quadra kill, but really, really good aggressive play from Craft. Does lose a bit of her stacks with the death, but picks up so much gold there. You can see that Craft is sitting on nearly 10k gold. And to just put that into comparison, on the side of Roccet, the next richest player is Powerfruit, who is not really who you want the gold on. You want the gold on that Shenzhen, you want the gold on that Syndra. So, looking very dire for Roccet right now.
Oh boy, I mean, Craft this Talia has just been eye-wateringly good. Now they've got a Void Staff and 14 stacks on a Magi Soul Stealer. They're not getting any less scary. And Honest, you know, we expected some major things from Honest, but right now, they're not even having to be the major threat when you've got such an incredibly well-performing jungler.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Like, Honest is doing his work, to be fair to him, but Craft is just playing out of his mind right now. So much damage coming from his... And he's picked up that Void Staff as well, so a lot of damage coming through. And there's no MR built on the side except for that Udyr, so... Ooh!
That's not your Malphite ult! As Craft grabs yet another one. Powerfruit chased out the fight. You just can't even step away.
That should be Baron.
Oh boy.
And it's what we said, isn't it? Counterfeit. Good early mid game that came from Roccet, and they did do that, to be fair to them. But that late game T-Void potential that the Sins bring to the table is just on display perfectly here. And you can see that with that 7k goal lead going to be increased with that Baron, and they'll be able to hopefully take those objectives down and push their lead even further. But that is so much damage from the side of the Sins.
You can see, at least for Roccet, they're trying to get something back here. Even if they can't contest the Baron, they can very slowly take down a tower. They've yet to get a single one for themselves right now. That's a ton of gold that they're leaving out here. A massive lead for the Sins, who show no signs of slowing down, with 20 stacks on Craft right now.
It is looking very, very scary. Once he hits those max stacks, he's going to be so fast as well, because Talia has that passive, of course, when she's against terrain that gives her a bonus movement speed. So once those are complete, very, very quick. Also, if they get the Cloud Soul, extra movement speed too. So very quick Talia, very quick Malphite with lots of the unstoppable forces coming in when she's looking here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're just waiting for the Sins to make their next play as Yoda goes forward, but the rest of the team are not with them. So instead, forced to fall back. Got no summoners for you right now, no summoners for Shenzhen either. On the last legs of Roccet Academy, they're going to make their play, and they're going to make it good. There is the ult coming through, but suddenly the shutdown is good, and the Sins actually lose a play.
Oh, I love that. Oh, we're still going.
Powerfruit ducks forward, doesn't use the chem tank quite yet, but oh my gosh, we see signs of life from Roccet Academy. They're not quite out of this one, even if they are super far behind. Motor Joe locked in place, has got the ult to get away if needs to. There's tons of damage coming, they've been rooted. Fletcher locks themselves in place. Here comes Powerfruit this time. There's no spell shield. Gets the kill, gives up their life for it. No, they don't even do that. The double kill is still good for Fletcher. Oh my god, the Sins, when Craft stands, you're gonna get knocked down in from the side. Craft has no mana and is still trying to go up against Shenzhen with the Weaver's Wall. I can't see this ending well for them. They do disengage.
Wow, Just when we thought it's all in favor of the Seven Deadly Sins, Roccet with the beautiful engage. Yune sees that Morgana has no spell shield left, so just goes straight in with that ult and then hits directly on it. Forces the spell shield really early on, and then that flash, and then the ult onto. Oh, it's just perfectly executed.
Yeah, we thought this was a done deal for the Sins, and I think they did as well. It seemed like everything was in place for them. I mean, nice cleanup on the tail end of that one to bring it to a much more even result ultimately, but yeah, Roccet, they can still make it happen if they make a pick of their own rather than they themselves being the ones.
I love this proactivity. They need to be proactive, otherwise they're just going to roll over and die. So they have to be keep looking for these plays. They need to be abusing any summoners. They need to be making sure they keep count of that. Any ultimates, especially when that spell shield is down, that's a big sign for them to go.
We're stepping up for the next fight over the Cloud Drake. Kali can TP into the fight. We've got the TP coming in from Motor Joe, which means the numbers will not be fair. Right, is down very low already. Power Fruit gives up their life as the fight begins. Keep your eye out for that dire damage. Shenzhen is still up for the time being, but Honest gets taken out by Kali, which means a lot of the damage is gone, apart from, of course, the biggest one. Craft comes in, grabs the double kill, and Craft is all you need to win the team fight.
And Fletcher's going to pick off Yune here. That's the ace coming through for Seven Deadly Sins, and all to play for. Gets another third Cloud Dragon, so their ultimates, they're just going to be suppressing you, ultimating you in your face, a rock in your face, more than you'd like. Just when we thought that Roccet had been turning the tables, it looks like Seven Deadly Sins make us eat our words again.
Yes, how it switches around. I mean, I'm amazed that Roccet Academy managed to find that window of opportunity to make the play before. But yeah, I mean, the goal lead is still ludicrously huge in the favor of the Sins. They've got so much more room for error in each of their fights as we're now on Soul Point.
Yeah, and that's going to be very scary. I want to see Power Fruit stop just going for that solo stun now. He needs to be staying on that Shenzhen. Ooh, forces the smite. Chime is playing hits.
There's the catch, but it's no good because the Black Shield. It does mean that Bright has got to burn their stasis to stay alive. Here comes the Weaver's Wall, and Honest Sleep takes out Shenzhen before the ult goes through. The double kill for Honest puts them up to 7-2-7. If the side is going to come Hufflepuff, the angriest badger that ever was, but can't make the play because it's 3 versus 5.
There's a suppression.
Hufflepuff forced the flash away, and this could be the end of days here.
Finding hits again.
Almost gets taken out. There's a catch on the Fruit. They get away somehow. No! Fletcher's damage over time gets the job done, and I think this has got to be it. Seven Deadly Sins so far ahead. The inhibitor is gone. But no, they go back for the Baron. They're not quite done.
Shenzhen's up in 5 seconds. Baron is coming up 10 seconds. Chime is very, very low. Not sure if she stays or resets here. It's staying in the bush. Very brave. Very, very brave.
Baron is started. There's no vision here for Roccet, but surely they know they've got to try and contest this one.
Easily secured though. Gets the quick recall.
Super Minions coming down the mid lane. Now will be Baron enhanced Super Minions. Still 0 turrets taken from Roccet. They will at least get the chance to correct that ever so slightly right now, but good lord, it's 30 minutes in before Roccet Academy get a single tower.
Gosh, Leona forced to burn Locket of the Solari there. Otherwise, that would have been a very dead Shenzhen, taking away to that DOT damage from the Liandries and the Demonic Embrace.
Oh boy. Alright. Status report on the game. As much as it's been summarized by, oh wait a second, no, we won't get a chance for that. Because the Seven Deadly Sins, of course, they are the new occupiers of the jungle as Power Fruit cannot face against Honest Sleep. We haven't even really mentioned it, but the cleanse there for Honest Sleep on top of the Black Shield. That Udyr is never getting a stun through.
Yeah, and that's why the Udyr now at this point in the game really just has to stay with Shenzhen. Just peel for anyone that's trying to get onto Shenzhen, just using that stun. Won't be providing any damage, so that's literally all Udyr is now, the stun bot, just to peel for Shenzhen at the moment because they are not getting onto Honest with that cleanse and the Black Shield.
The wave cliff so far has been good enough to keep the tower alive, but that may be about to change. We haven't got Fletcher here, who's pushing in the top wave, looking to swipe down the last tier 2 tower. I think the inhibitor tower is just about
tank.
alive. Yeah, it's the play from the Udyr, but it's not going to be any good. Hufflepuff trying to claw through.
I think this is it.
The area, honestly, charging further forward. They are untouched, and Kraft still on the absolute game of their life. He does get caught under the tower. That's a massive shutdown, but it may not matter. Shenzhen is still dead with flash available. Cali is left standing as the last defender for Roccet Academy.
Wow. Fair play. Ooh. There's the flash ult to round the game out. He's been doing that all game.
Oh, and with good reason. 7 deadly sins, the reverse sweep. They will not stand to be beaten by Roccet Academy in the very first week of play here in Season 11. But it was a pretty damn close thing, especially after that first game.
Yeah, and I think my faith being lost in Roccet was well versed in that performance. They to be fair to them, they executed their early mid as they should have, but the late game draft of 7 Deadly Sins just came to fruition, and that was just too much to deal with.
Oh, boys. I mean, yeah, I'm really impressed by what we saw there from the Sins. They just showed, in the 2 games they won, it just showed what they were able to do when they've got their full 5-person squad, where they've got everything they need to make all of their practice come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. But can we just give a shout out to Kraft? What a performance on the Talia. Twice in a row. Very, very strong. So much just presence everywhere around the map with that Weaver's Wall. Always there, always ready for the fights, and picked up managed to cash in on those Magi stacks this time.
Yes. Do stick around, guys. We will be having our interview with one of the players from the 7 Deadly Sins after that astonishing comeback. Oh my gosh. I mean, certainly for Roccet Academy, it felt like they were a lot more where they needed to be in game number 3 than they were in game number 2, at least. But by the end, it wasn't even remotely close.
Yeah, and you just saw the difference coming in with Honest coming in. They played with a lot more confidence, it felt like, and they were just a lot more proactive in their plays. They drafted really strong comps around Honest, just being able to just do so much damage on the back end of fights. If we look at the last game, Honest put out 22k damage, but just under Kraft. So Kraft doing a lot of work that game.
Yes, I mean, the numbers are pretty eye-watering. Nearly 23,000 apiece. In fact, only separated by 36 damage were Kraft and Honest Sleep in that last game. That is insane.
They're probably having competition with each other, but Kraft wins in terms of kill participation, doesn't he? But I liked Power. Credit to, we have to give credit where credit's due, and I like what Roccet tried. Power Fruit, obviously, very, very proactive. We saw him on the Jarvan. Wasn't as able to get in on as much action last game, but this game was definitely in a lot of the early game kills. Was definitely all around the map as well, doing his very best to get those ganks off. But Kraft just farming up and just building up a massive lead over and over again. It's just too brutal for the side of Roccet.
All right, I believe we've got Fletcher on the line in a second from the 7 Deadly Sins to take us through that last series, which was a little bit of a heart stopper at times. Fletcher, how are you guys feeling after that last game?
Oh, great. Absolutely great. It was a really fun game. I mean, it's been great joining this team. They've all been really, really welcoming, and I just had a great time, really.
Could you just run us through? You said, we've got some bits and pieces about the team's history. So, you said it's been great so far. How long have you been playing with the team, and what's the experience been like?
Well, I've known Chime for like 5 years now, and she just invited me one day. She said, come play the game. Like if you want to play some ranked, like get into the kind of tournament kind of side of league. And yeah, I've been playing with the team for maybe about 3 or 4 weeks now, and yeah, it's been really good. I've had a lot of solo queuing with Kraft as well. He absolutely carried that game. Carried most of me through solo queue as well. But it's been great.
I just want to know what was going through your minds after game one, because game one wasn't what we were expecting, to say the least. So what was going through your minds, and what were you thinking like going into game two?
Yeah, it was tough, definitely. But you just got to keep your heads about you, you know. And I knew as soon as I could play Annie, I was just gonna have a fun time. So
We
Yeah,
did
so sorry.
spot out the Annie on kind of records of play. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it that drew you to that champion?
literally about last summer, I just was watching Coach Curtis on YouTube, and he was just like, "This guy, Annie, is best champion at the minute," and I just started playing her, and yeah, she's just really, really fun to play. Fits my play style, and yeah, I just love it. I'm always gonna have a fun game when I pick her.
You're one of those Annie players who just love to blow people up. Because when we saw Shenzhen going in with that killer instinct on that Kai'Sa, you just blew him up repeatedly over and over again. You must have been enjoying yourself a lot.
Oh yeah.
So looking forward to the next game, I believe against Deja Vu Academy. Have you guys had any thoughts about them already?
I'm sure my team are much more better prepared than me, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
All right. Jess, do you have anything left before we call it a night?
No, just want to salute your Annie play, even though I absolutely hate Annie, but really, I really, really liked your draft, so keep that stuff up.
Thank you. It's great playing tonight.
All right. So, guys, this coming Thursday, assuming everything goes to plan, Horizon versus Ablaze and Prime Heads versus H15 on VL2. So, plenty more Fantastic League of Legends. We're only just starting the season. Tons more weeks to go before we're done. Thank you, Fletcher, for joining us and sharing your thoughts, and for some extremely nice nether graphs.
Thank you.
We'll see
Thanks
you
for
guys
having
a
me.
little bit later on this week.